Hey, how's it going, guys? My name is Alexander Fox. Welcome back to VoodooWaterTV. I'm with my good friend Charlie Thurman. Charlie, take it away, man.
Well, I left my home, things were getting too expensive. Capital diversity was getting too extensive. So I hopped in my Odyssey and headed up to the hills. Up here in the north, things are going south fast. I know that I won't die from a nuclear blast, but I still gotta choose between eating and paying my bills. 17 years my pop owned this house. It became a hotel for every single mouse that made its way to the heart of Ulster County. Cleaning hair and shit out of every single corner. I yelled to J. Dean, go ahead and call the coroner, cause if this is my life, then I don't wanna live anymore. Just the two of us in paradise. There's copper in the water and the hills are covered in ice. One of us has rabies and the other one's got lice. What does it matter? The view is nice. Yeah, right. Well, gas is so expensive that you're better off walking or living in the forest like Davy Crockett, killing deer and grilling them and picking shrooms for medication. Spend all night in an abandoned barn, catch up the open mic at the Colony of Arms, and maybe later on everybody's gonna wind up at station. Just a room of us in paradise. If you see something in the trees, let me give you some advice. Don't you fuck with no bear babies, and no bears will end your life. What does it matter? The view is nice. Well, your tax dollars don't get your basic human services, even though the town's a money grubbing tourist circus can't get so much as a coffee without getting a credit check. So you make it out the station even though you don't wanna. Somebody hands you some free marijuana and you think, I haven't done this in a blink, but what the heck. Just a few of us in paradise. I'll be dead by the morning's end, but the company is nice. Consider these conspiracies by smoky firelight. What does it matter? The view is nice. Well, it looks like I'm gonna be here for a minute. Life is just a game, so you better get to winning. All I need's a start, all I want is a beginning. I went to living on a mountain from living on an island. Now the end is coming like a wave on the horizon. If you're rich or poor or something in between, the end is gonna equalize it. Just a few of us in paradise. Okay, that last verse was a little bit dark, but don't worry, we're gonna be fine. Don't mix drinking with deep thinking, that is never a good sign. What does it matter? We're all gonna die. Sorry. What does it matter? The end is nigh. What does it matter? The view is nice. How are you, buddy?
Dude, I'm doing fantastic. What a great way to start a show.
Yeah, well, I thought it was a nice little precursor to what's been going on up here in the northern country.
You almost had me in tears, man. That was fucking great.
Oh, really?
Oh, it was so good.
It's not
so
intended
good.
to make you cry. It's intended to make people laugh and piss them off.
I would, dude. Like, especially the last part there. But you put a lot of your life in that song. It's a fun, funny song, but it's serious.
Yeah. A lot of my last couple
Some
of
name
months.
drop in there.
Well, a little bit.
It's good.
You know?
I like it.
Thanks. Yeah, I the first time when I got up here, I eventually made my way over to the Colony, which is in the song, and they have this great open mic. And the first time I played there, I played that song.
Right.
And I was just, and I was like, hey, okay, listen, I made a funny song about Woodstock, and I don't want to make anybody upset, but you seem like nice people, so here it goes. Keep an open mind. And it was just like, it brought down the house. And since then, people come up to me talking about that song, and I played all sorts of different kinds of songs there since then, but just last week, somebody requested it, and I was like, sure, and I went into it and I played it.
So good.
I'm trying to make it kind of a local, like a local anthem.
Is this new stuff you're doing? Like,
yeah,
very cool. So do we?
Yeah.
That's a sneak peek on
I have
media.
Yeah, I mean, I've been writing a lot of acoustic stuff lately
Mm,
because, I've been kind of trying to get into the spirit of living up here. I mean, you had like Bob Dylan spent a lot of time up here.
yeah.
Um, I'm in Woodstock, by the way, for people watching. Hello, I'm not
Which
in Long Island anymore. I live in Woodstock, New York.
which is funny because our last guest, Trist, who I'm
Yeah.
trying to hook you guys up to do some music,
Mhm.
that's where she lives,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
which is
I,
hilarious.
I honestly, I think she had a show at the Pearl Moon that
Mm,
I almost went to, but I couldn't. And I
right.
think I saw her like walking down the street this one time. So it's
So
like,
I gotta make the connection, a serious connection there, because I think you guys would be great to do something,
well, we'll see. I mean, she seems like
or
she's
even
a
just
lot.
to connect.
Yeah, she seems like she's a lot like me as
Mm,
an artist. Like she likes to have a lot of creative control, and I
yeah,
kind of work the same way. It's kind of like my way or the highway.
right. Well, we need to. We want to. I want to see what a brick wall and a gigantic wave does musically. You know,
And it is an immovable, like an irresistible force and an immovable
right?
object.
Two magnets just
Yeah.
being forced together. No, I think that would be cool.
Maybe I really like her music a lot, and I really think that I have a lot of respect for her hustle.
Mm. Oh, dude,
always,
she's doing everything.
yeah, she's doing everything. Her artwork is great. Her pictures
Mm.
are great. I have a lot of respect for her. I really
And some of
do.
that stuff she like really does shoot on her own. Like
Yeah,
for a
I
long
know.
time there, she was like, I'm like, who took those? She's like, I just set it up in my apartment, just have
Yeah.
fun, you know,
Yeah, yeah.
which is great. Okay, cool, man. So you've been there how long now?
I think coming up on 6 months.
Mhm.
I moved in the heart of the winter.
Right.
And it was tough at first because all the stuff that was in that song, it did actually happen.
Yeah, sure.
Like I moved into this old house that my father used to own, and it turns out it was just infested with rodents, and the
And
streets
lice?
were,
Yeah, lice.
and no, that was
there you go. Almost
never got
everything.
lice.
Okay, yeah,
Yeah.
just rodents.
yeah, just
Mm.
rodents, and the streets were really hard to pass in our two-wheel drive cars and everything.
Mm.
And moving up here was really difficult, and it was really isolating because there wasn't anybody around.
Sure.
So eventually I moved out into town, and I discovered the two great places to hang out around here in that Station Bar, which is this local bar that's a lot like Partners, good old Partners in
Good
Secret.
old partners. Yeah,
Yeah, it's a lot like that, but outside, and there's a fire pit.
I like that. I know you keep
Yes.
sending me this picture of the fire pit with the
I
pizza.
love it. I absolutely love it out there.
Yeah.
And then of course the Colony, which is one of the best live venues anywhere, man.
Sure.
So I eventually discovered that place, and the thing about Woodstock that's really strange is everybody thinks that Woodstock is going to be like this rural kind of bumpkin community,
Right.
but it's not. It's a tourist town. It's like a total like blown out of the water tourist town, especially this time of year.
Mm.
And what you have is you have a lot of shops that are catering to new money, and selling stuff, selling local wares, but for just astronomical prices. So it's actually really hard to get food and services and
Wow.
stuff like
Okay.
that.
Interesting.
Yeah, like you wouldn't think it, but honestly, like you go into one of the local establishments, and like coffee is twice as much as it ought to be. The restaurants, they sell food that's like, I don't want to dump on Woodstock too
That's
much.
it. The whole town's gonna chase you out.
But here's the thing. The local places, the places that cater to the locals that I like to go to, those places are totally awesome. You just have to know where they are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it stimulates the economy there, I guess, right?
Yeah, I mean, I
You need the
guess-
inn. You need a local guide to.
Yeah, it is a good thing because it does generate capital. And when you do what I do, having an influx of affluent, people
Yeah.
who have a lot of money is really good, because
Especially moving into old
renovating houses.
places. Yeah.
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 So that's good for me. But the offshoot of it is, nobody up here made anywhere near the amount of money that these people are making.
The cost of living is going way up. Yeah.
Yeah, and now the cost of living is shooting up, and the cost of food is, and
It's
all
like-
the people that used to live here
you-
can't afford to be here anymore.
Do you feel like I just got here? Why is it? Why now?
Yeah, it's weird because the same thing happened in Seacliff over a long period of time.
Yeah, sure.
Like when I was a young pup in Seacliff, it was all fishermen and mechanics,
Yeah.
and it was still beautiful, but it wasn't like, there were a lot of the houses were run down, but it was like a secret. It was like, oh, look at this
I
nice
know.
community we have. And now, I mean, it's beautiful what people have done to the homes there and everything, but it's just such a shame to see the
It's like all $1 million homes.
Yeah. And it's just like, when you
Yeah.
do that, okay, great. You move into a neighborhood, you have the money, you get to pay, you can pay $5 million to have a house on the shore. Great, wonderful. But it's like you're ripping the heart out of that neighborhood. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it happens, man. I mean, like right now, like in California, so like Mexico is complaining that people are migrating from California to Mexico.
Yeah.
And like taking over all the towns over the border and basically gentrifying cities.
Wow. To Mexico.
Yeah, they're leaving America and going to live in Mexico.
I did not know that.
And it's causing like an issue.
Jesus.
So wouldn't it be funny? My joke is that like in 4 years, Trump was right? Like Mexico's like, fuck it, I'm building a wall. Like I'm keeping you damn Americans out.
Yeah.
I think South Park did an episode on that, right?
You know, actually, no, Bill Burr was right because he had a comedy special. He says, by the time they're done building the wall, we're the ones that are going to want to go over it.
Yeah, right. Well,
and that's happening.
It kind of is. It's kind of scary.
Mean, California's burning. You're going to see a little bit of that when you're out there, I'm sure.
You know, there's a lot of negatives to moving out there for sure. But I'm trying to stay positive.
Try to stay positive. You're going to get a lot of sun.
I'm a positive guy. Weather's really good. So like during like the 99 degrees that it was a couple days ago, I checked the weather channel or whatever you do these days, and it was 86 degrees.
It's 86 degrees.
That was the high.
It's 80, but you got to be careful about. Well, first of all, when I was in California briefly, you get that breeze off the Pacific the whole time, and it's a lot more comfortable than you would think. Like it's a lot worse here when it's like really humid.
It just gets stuffy. I mean, on tour, it didn't really bother me, or when I visited either.
Yeah,
you know.
Plus, I mean, I can see you in like a quasi-tropical location. I mean, I'm a mountain man now. I'm a forest guy.
I think. I think I want to be a forest guy. But then, like, winter comes.
Don't want to be a forest.
No, exactly. It would have to be a tropical forest.
Let me tell you, when I first came up here,
a jungle. That's a jungle. What am I talking about?
It is a jungle.
Cheers, buddy.
Cheers, man. It's so good to see you.
I know. This is a treat for me because I haven't seen you in so long.
Well, I'm still here. I'm still alive, you know.
I just hope people enjoy it, right? But whatever.
Sure. Yeah, whatever. Enjoy it or not. You're here. You're here with us.
Yeah, I love it, man. It's so good to see you.
I encourage the listeners to grab a day beer and
a little day drinking.
Ask silly questions. I have all sorts of silly answers. I have serious answers for serious questions and silly answers for silly questions. So
I think at some point maybe share the link so that your people can get to it. I think we forgot to do that. I'm solely on Twitch for the past couple months, and like even being able to stream regularly, like even when I can, I'm so tired. It's like I don't want to be on. So like my platform kind of took a hit, but like I still have people on YouTube and Facebook because I'm not multi-stream right now, and they're like, "Where are you?" Whatever, and I'm like, "Come to Twitch." But when I move and I can get settled in, like, and can build out like a real studio, I will go back to streaming. It's so difficult. Like even right now, like to stream with like a shitty background really bothers me, but this is something I want. The podcasts are good to do because you can keep them.
You're in transition. I feel quite honored that you would, be displaying the shittiness of your background and you would decide on me as a guest. That makes me feel very, very good. Yes.
I wasn't going to take any more guests, and I was like, I got to get Charlie on. Before,
at least once, right?
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, eventually, like, I'll be up and running, and I'll be doing it more regularly. And I'll be coming down like once a quarter once the warehouse is set up. So like, I'll probably bring my podcasting stuff and like go to people.
Okay, cool.
Which would be cool. And I can finally check out your neck of the woods.
It'd be awesome if you came up here. I know that you would have a lot of fun up here hanging out with me.
Yeah, dude, forget about it. I mean, you just seem like so happy.
I mean, I am very, very much happier because, I've got like a bigger place and, I think overall I'm having a little bit more fun, but the problem is that I don't have my friends and family, my dad's here, but I had like a circle of friends back home and I'm still trying to, it's really weird moving into a new place, especially when you're like a big 6'8", stuck in his own mind kind of guy at a bar. Because you stand around and people are like, who the hell is that guy? Like, I used to show up and I would be completely overdressed. Like I would wear like a really nice jacket and like, a really nice hat and like, shoes and everything. And everybody else would just be in freaking blue jeans and tank tops. And they'd be like, who the hell is this huge guy? The
imagery is amazing. Yeah.
So it's taking me a lot of time to kind of get to know the bartenders and then like, who's that? Oh, that's Charlie. But it's, it's a small town vibe like Seacliff.
Yeah. But you seem so much lighter.
I am lighter.
It's good, man. Lighter. It's a good look. I'm glad. Thanks. Yeah. It's cool.
Thanks. Yeah. No, I am a little bit lighter. I miss my friends though, man. That's the problem. I used to see people I know all the time and now it's like I'm a stranger in a strange land. That
comes and goes, man. Like, I went through that when I moved from Jersey to New York. And now that I'm going to LA, like I know some music people, but like And there's some fans. Shout out to my fans out there if I still have any, but like people that check on me and stuff. And
I'm one. I'm a fan.
Yeah, right. But like people, like come to Arizona, like I got a place, like so you kind of get over it. Yeah. You don't get over it, but like you know what I mean. You kind of rebuild.
Yeah, it takes time.
I read
somewhere that it takes 2 years to really root yourself in a community, and I feel like right now I feel like I'm ahead of the game.
Okay,
because
that's great.
Because even though I don't know a ton of people here, I've already got, like I do the weekly, like I'm crushing it at open mic, like weekly or bi-weekly.
You're the celebrity.
No, I'm not a celebrity because there's a lot of great musicians up here.
That's what Tris was saying, that there's so much good potential and good projects already established and people, artists.
There are. It's really weird because there's such a concentration of musicians and there's not too many places to play. But I mean, I don't know, it's weird. I haven't really quite figured it out yet. But what I'm trying to do is, like I said before, is I'm like, okay, so I'm in where, Van Morrison, came from, and I'm where Bob Dylan spent a lot of time, and there's a lot of industry people up here.
Right.
And like, why don't I try to do the solo acoustic thing that I haven't done since before? Like, I think I was just out of college and I was doing that for a while. It was mostly covers. But, I've been writing all these like original songs, and now there's this venue right around the corner that welcomes people to show up and play original songs. So I'm like, now I can really get good, and I can figure out how to work a crowd. And so far the results have been pretty good. That's
one of my favorite things from Charlie Thurman. Like, I love a lot of stuff you do, like the Greyhound or Cellar Hounds.
Yeah, the Cellar Hounds.
Love the Cellar Hounds, White Houses.
Yeah, that record's awesome.
Yeah, I love all of it. But like, my favorite thing is Charlie Thurman at the beach playing music, and Charlie Thurman sitting down at a bar stool and playing. Like,
so that song that I played for you at the beach is called "Oh Marie," and I finished that one up and I played it at open mic, and it went swimmingly.
Yeah,
would you like me to?
I would love that. Yeah, please.
Right.
Very cool.
I'm gonna do it. All right, let's do a quick mic check here. Just
sure.
I'm gonna move around, try to get a little bit more comfortable since I'm gonna be playing. So how's this? Is this pretty good?
That's pretty good. Maybe move a little closer to the vocal mic. But...
Okay. Make that happen. Better?
Yes.
Okay.
Take it away.
Oh, Marie, see what you've done to me. I can't find home except on my feet. The sea will rise over the beach. You light the sky on fire for me. Honestly, my feelings lie from time to time. I'm thinking on you. All the good mixed with the bad. It was all I knew. It was all I had. honestly. My feelings lie from time to time. I'm thinking on you. All the love mixed with the pain, it was all I knew, and it's driving me insane.
Fantastic, dude. Honestly.
How'd that sound?
Oh, I loved it. I had to do a little rearranging, so
Yep.
you can be front and center when you play. But I loved it, man.
Good.
That's really good. It's really beautiful.
Thank you.
You're such a talented guitar player.
Oh,
I think we've touched on this before. I mean, you've been playing a long time.
Yeah, I've been playing. Let's see. I wish I should have got it to you. I have pictures of me holding a guitar in diapers.
Well, I think you showed it on the show, haven't you? Or have you shown me? Maybe
I might have shown you, but
okay.
My father had guitars lying around growing up, and
right.
So I would pick those up and I would play them. And when I started writing songs on them, that's when my dad started paying for lessons. And I just, I was never the best guitar player ever, but I mean, everybody was always like, "Oh man, Charlie can really play." And
yeah.
But the thing about, I think that makes me unique is that I'm not just a guitar player. I'm primarily a songwriter. Like, I've been writing songs since I was really young, and so I stand by the songs that I write. And these days, I get as many compliments about my guitar playing as I do about my songs and my voice, and that's really great. I mean, just to hear people respond to all three of those things makes me feel like, okay, maybe I should be doing this.
I think my favorite thing about you as an artist is that, like, my favorite singer-songwriters are Cat Stevens, Jack Johnson, James Taylor, Carole King.
Yeah.
Those are like my favorites. Those are like the tops, probably.
I can play you a song by James Taylor and Carole King.
Yeah, we got a friend. It's one of my favorite things you do, right?
Yeah, I can play that for you next if you want.
I would love that. I was gonna request it.
I'd love to play it for you. I've got it ready.
That's awesome. And it's like, I don't know. I think, is there a lot of people doing that? Like, I don't think people set out to be that, but when it happens, it's amazing.
Well, I mean, it is. I mean, the thing of it is, people up here, they love, like, Joni Mitchell and Carole King and James Taylor. They love them, and every time you name drop them, you get like a woohoo.
Yeah, for sure.
So I'm really in that country, so I figured that it would be really great to get that song together and, like, just keep it in my repertoire. And I do a nice version, but I have a funny story about that, right?
Sure.
So I was at the Colony, and there was this Australian dude who got up there, and I think his name is Bob Valentine.
Okay.
And he came correct. He was going and checking out famous music venues and playing there, and he could really play. And he got up there, and it wasn't my best night, right? And he played before me, and he just put on this ripping, like, this ripping couple of songs, like, I play country bop and that country song, and he got the whole audience clapping, and like, and then I got up there and I totally tanked. It was, like, not a good night. But I mean, of course, I say I tanked, but everybody was probably like,
listen, I've seen you do really bad before, Charlie.
Yeah.
I've had to counsel you after you did really bad, It's
really bad.
Yeah, like, I was like, yeah, bud, it's gonna be all right.
Don't worry, you'll be fine. You'll
Meanwhile, every girl in the house wants to come over and talk to you. It's like, yeah, you did really bad.
That's because they didn't have dads that loved them. Anyway,
not gonna say a word, but yeah.
So I was at the Colony, and this guy did this thing, and it was, like, really bad. So the next week, I think I saw him, and I was like, yeah. Next week I was there, and I was like, hey, you gonna play? And he was like, yeah, I guess so. And I was like, all right. So I had the slot literally just before him.
Right.
And so I sang You've Got a Friend.
Yeah.
And I got everybody to sing along with it.
That's so good.
And then after I did that one, I did the Woodstock song, and just soaring applause. And then I get off the stage and I got all this energy, and I get off the stage and there's Bob Valentine, and I'm like, yeah. And he shakes my hand and goes, "You bastard."
That's so good.
You know, so he had to go up there and follow me, but he still did a really great job. And
sure,
you know, it was definitely a fun experience.
That's awesome, man.
Just try and like top yourself week after week. I'm loving it.
I love that you said that, because like something that I had to learn, that I think a lot of successful people, not that I'm successful in my own right, whatever. Are you competing against other people or yourself?
I'm definitely competing against myself.
That's like the ultimate person to beat.
Without question, I'm competing against myself. And the problem is that like the harder I try, the higher I raise my own bar.
Sure.
Like I feel like at this point in my life, I should be so much better at all of this than I am. And I don't think that I will ever be satisfied with how good I do. Like, even if I go up there and even if I'm peeling the paint off the walls, I don't think I'll be happy.
Yeah.
But
that's
you know,
good.
I'm trying to give myself over to that. Like, I'm trying to live with that, you know, and allow myself, you know, the ability to kind of approach that, you know, to get as good as I possibly can, while at the same time trying to rest soundly in the knowledge that I'm never going to overcome my own expectations of myself. And I'm trying not to let that rip apart my personality. You know what I mean?
Yeah, really.
It's really tough, to be honest.
Yeah, no, that could like destroy momentum so easily.
Yeah, I know.
It's hard to keep it going.
It's hard to keep it going.
I struggle all the time.
Yeah, I mean, it really is. I mean, when you take something like any kind of art, and at some point in your life, you kind of decide like, this is kind of the thing that I use to gauge my own self-worth.
Yeah.
Is how good I do at this. And it's like, you realize that it's a fickle thing to use as a measuring stick.
Such a thin line.
Yeah. But
teetering.
But you love it, so you still do it. So you still do it, and it's still in your life. So it's like, I literally live and die by like how good I play. It's pathetic, you know?
Well, it's not just playing though. It's like you're really performing something. Like, I think you are creating art. Music's weird because it's like one of the only mediums where it's like, if no one hears it, does it exist?
I was actually just talking. I was just talking with some people about that exact thing, because you know, when I go and I play a song at the Colony that hasn't ever been played for anybody before, it's like the final stage of the creation process.
Yeah.
Because like the first stage of creating a song is when the melody is kind of living in your head, you know, and you're kind of mulling it about. And then the second phase is when you actually transpose it onto your instrument. Yeah. And then the third stage is when you either record it or you play it for people. And it just doesn't exist. Like it's not real until you put it in somebody else's mind, you know, until you put it into their hands and you let them interpret it. And it's kind of messed up, because if you think about it, all those ideas that I had of all these great songs over the years that I never played for people, they're all gone forever. Like, I could have wrote a song that would be indisputably one of the greatest songs ever, and it's gone. Or somebody in our country, in our world, could have written the song that's just like resonates with me perfectly. And because they didn't get it down, it's gone. And that's also part of what's driving me right now. I'm just trying to develop as many ideas as I can. I got 12 so far, 12 originals.
I think there's been a theme on my show now. It's like Tris is like, it's like, dude, when do you even sleep? Let alone do anything else. But it's like she's trying to dip into every medium because it's all connected. And like you just saying like, yeah, I'm just trying to get all my ideas down.
Yeah.
Even if you do like 5% of each idea, at least it's there.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Because like my thing is like, where do ideas come from? Like where do they come from, dude?
They come, I don't know. They come
just
from the wind.
Show up.
Well, the thing that I think where they come from for me is I don't know, like Leonard Cohen always said that he's got a radio playing in the back of his head. And that's kind of what it's like, you know, for me. Like, my imagination brings me melodies, but I don't think it's anything as out there as like, oh, you know, God's talking to me in the back of my head.
Yeah.
Baby, I've been waiting. I don't think it's anything like that.
Right.
I think it's over the course of my life. I mean, I have a very active auditory imagination. I always have. I'm able to remember things that are recorded better than, you know, words on a page or anything like that.
Okay.
So I have really good recall when it comes to the melodies that I've heard over the course of my life. And in my mind, I got used to mashing together and splitting them apart and, you know, and imagining these awesome songs. And that really started, you know, way back when I first started, you know, making, you know, grunge rock and punk songs back in high school, junior high. And ever since then, it's like that switch never got flipped off. So these melodies come to me and I'll just be singing along to them. And I'm at the stage in my life now where like I can play the guitar and I am comfortable enough with my voice that I know how it's going to sound almost before I start playing it.
Right.
Sometimes.
Interesting.
Sometimes. So, and
it
then
just
I'll
shows up
that.
though.
Yeah.
I don't write like that. It's just like, I've never been like, that sounds fucking great. Let me go write that down. Like,
I mean, I've just been playing guitar so long and singing for so long that I'll like, oh, here comes a melody. I'm like, oh, that'll sound really good against,
this
G,
thing I wrote
C,
6 months
D.
ago too. Right?
Yeah, exactly. And then they'll be like, can I fuse these two parts together? Can I transpose this and stick it into this other song?
Right.
And that's a skill that you develop by producing music over time.
Yeah.
You know? Like what I do with White Houses. I mean, it's a lot of cut and paste and, matching up ideas and trying to make a cohesive song.
That's true. You got a lot of training with that different style of creation.
Yes.
Just to train, okay, this piece can go with that, whatever,
Yes.
And
yes.
Just doing something real quick. Oh, yeah, that sounds.
Yeah.
That's a good skill, man. I don't think I've ever got, that's never been my take on the medium. You know what I mean? To me, it's always been like just playing.
It's a good skill.
It's a great skill. I wish I had it.
When you take a look at the thing, and I'm wrestling with it, when you take a look at the skills that you have, you always have to weigh them against what they bring into your life.
Sure.
Like if one day, playing music brings a livelihood, like that would be my ultimate goal. Not to be famous or anything, but just to be able to.
Well, famous is a different thing, right?
I don't care about.
I think people don't separate that enough. You can be famous and poor.
Yes.
I'd rather be successful with like, hey, I'm doing the thing I love and financially I don't have to worry about too much.
Like I'd like to sell some songs to somebody, I'd like to do some, film scoring, stuff like that. So that I can start doing that because I just love being creative. And that would be my measure of ultimate success at this point, I think.
Being the guy they call. Like,
be the guy. Yeah.
Be like, yo, I need a blah, blah. Oh, I got a guy.
Yep.
He works great.
I'm the guy they call.
I'll fly him out right now.
We need a top end for this Justin Bieber hit. Max Martin can't cut it anymore.
Oh, you're going Justin Bieber.
I'll be right there. Ooh.
Yeah. Well, isn't it like it's like 12% or what is it? It's like there's like 12 guys that write all the hits in the last decade or something for all these.
I think there's more than that, but the big guys are,
you know what I'm saying? Like the main like
Dr. Luke,
the $1 million money makers.
Yeah, absolutely. Dr. Luke and Max Martin, I mean, because it's all in that book, The Song Machine. I was just talking about that the other day with somebody too. What happened is, and this is fascinating. Remember Ace of Base?
Ace of Base.
All that she wants is another baby.
No, don't forget I'm only 30.
Oh my God.
You forget.
So am I, and I know.
Yeah. I know you're 33, right? 33.
Yeah, 33 years young.
Yeah.
Ace of Base was a Swedish pop band that everybody, that came around in like the middle of the 90s. Like everybody's listening to like, Alice in Chains and Soundgarden and Nirvana.
Right. And then the Swedish band comes in.
And then this Swedish pop band comes in and everything is like really, really well produced, but to the point where it almost sounds synthetic. So anyway, the guys, that song, even though everybody in my circle thought it was the dumbest shit ever, that song became worldwide famous. And the guys that produced it were from this small studio in Sweden. One of the guys was an ex-metalhead whose name was Max Martin. And
okay.
Those guys, after they did Ace of Base, they wound up getting Britney Spears.
Wow.
And so they did Oh Baby Baby.
Oh, that's them?
That's them. And that was Max Martin. That was one of his first, and he was Britney Spears' producer for a long time. And then, then that whole company wound up branching out and then forming all the different production studios that make all Rihanna's stuff and all Jessica Simpson stuff, and Justin Bieber, Max Martin like resurrected his career. And those guys are really fascinating because they have songwriting down to an absolute science, and they have the track record to prove it too.
Right. I mean, but that's nuts though. Like to put something like music into a science, and be able to produce all these hits, like, yeah, I know, that's kind of crazy.
I mean, I kind of do it too, but it's more of a visceral science. It's not like, like if I feel a song needs to go a certain way, I'll do it. But I'm also, part of the art form is trying to capture people's imagination. So you're trying to take a hook and a lyric, you're trying to weave it and present it in such a way that people are going to ride along with you. you know?
Sure.
So I'm
Yeah.
always taking verses out of stuff and adding stuff in and just making subtle little changes to try and make it as accessible and as juicy as possible. You know what I mean?
I think we've talked about that before. It's like, I've always wanted to do a project, and I feel like this is just everybody, but it's like, where does the easy accessibility, like the pop culture pick up, anybody can chew it up, enjoy it, versus adding the original artist kind of like, you know, non-mainstream. Like, how do you get mainstream without being mainstream? You know?
I don't know. I think, I don't know. At some point you got to turn off, at some point you have to turn off that laser trying to get people's attention, and you have to follow what's on the inside of you. You have to balance what you want to do artistically with what people's expectations are.
Yes.
You know, like if you go all the way over and you're just making stuff to satisfy people's expectations and sell as much stuff, then you're a guy that used to be in a metal band who's making 3-minute songs that have a hook every 6 seconds.
Right.
And, you know, you put somebody with washboard abs and a lady with, you know, like a
sells. Sex sells.
Yeah.
Easy digestible hooks. Yeah.
And then you got, you know, and then you got a record. You know, that makes me think. It just makes me wonder, like, what if I could just write a song and find somebody that has like a huge amount of sex appeal and like invent a pop star? Like,
yeah, right. Well, isn't that what they do though?
That is what they do.
That's exactly what they do. You just want to be them.
But the thing is, but I feel like if I didn't have like $1 million to throw behind this person, then it would just wind up being some weird like Trailer Park Boys episode.
Yeah. Well, that would be,
get on stage.
Yeah. I mean, dude, like, I've thought about that. I've always said, like, if I hit the lottery, like, I'm buying a modest house, digging out the basement, full on studio, bringing engineers, and then I'm just gonna bring a producer. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I've already been like, if I win the lottery, that's it. I'm producing like a super group. I don't care. That's my investment to come back, you know?
Yeah, if I won the lottery, I'd either do that or I would just disappear entirely.
Yeah. I have to win enough though.
Yeah.
You know, I want to buy a bunch of grocery stores and like washing 24-hour wash services, you know, and just go on an island. Bye-bye.
Yeah.
What happened to Alex? I don't know.
Well, that's, you know, like, because moving up here, it's like it feels a lot like I've removed myself from society to an extent, which is totally not true because it's just a different society up here. But I feel like thrice removed from, you know, like the tri-state area.
Right.
And it's kind of an addictive feeling. So now it's like I'm looking at videos of people making off-grid cabins and stuff like that. And
it's
I'm looking
so
at
weird,
them,
man.
And I'm just watching them one after another. And these guys going out in the forest and cutting down trees. And there's like, oh, I built this home for $3, you know?
There's been a big scandal about that. The Primitive Technology channel?
Yeah, I love that channel.
Okay, there's a spin-off of these two guys that do it, and it's like Primitive Technology something, right? They basically just stole this thing. Someone was flying like a drone over and caught footage of like them having like 12 people, and then like people started digging into it, and you can see like tire tracks and stuff.
Oh, they had a crew.
Oh yeah, it's totally made up. 100% made up. But the original guy supposedly is real. And like the thing is, I love watching that stuff too. I'll go down a rabbit hole.
Yeah, I love watching.
But it's just funny. It got exposed.
You ever see the one where the guy makes a freaking blast furnace out of like river mud?
No, I mean I've seen him make little furnaces, little cooking, little ovens.
I saw this one where he took mud and he built a structure with a couple of different chambers in it.
Right.
And then he made a blast furnace that shoots like hot air through these holes, and he used it to cure clay and make shingles.
Wow, to put on his hut?
To put on his hut, and he shingled his hut. I was like, that's amazing.
How long does it take?
I don't know, but I would never find out because I'd be dead in
You'd be starved.
day.
You wouldn't even...
One day.
Yeah. How do I get food and water, let alone build shingles for my hut?
Yeah.
How do I build a Wi-Fi receiver?
They'd be like, Charlie, you want to go live in the forest? I'd be like, can I bring my air conditioner?
Is there a tropical forest available?
Yeah. It's like, by forest, do you mean 4 walls and a roof?
Yeah.
And electricity?
I got Oculus.
Wi-Fi?
I could put Oculus on and do it.
Yeah. That's how I just live vicariously through those guys.
That's crazy though. Because you think about, I mean, people had to get along somehow. Like,
yeah.
Technology had to come from somewhere. Like,
we're all wimps.
Oh yeah. No, I mean, just imagine if they were like, okay, we're going to solve, if aliens came, they're like, we're going to solve every problem you guys have. You're going to send, but we're taking half your population and dropping them, 1,000 years ago, and if they can live for 100 years, then you guys, that's it. You ascend, you join the Galactic Trade Network, and you guys are
What
good.
a concept. Did you just come up with that?
That's it, dude. That's a hit show right there.
That is a hit show.
Yeah.
That's a great idea. Aliens,
you know what? Someone can take that.
Dude,
that's like 100.
You should, no. You should go out to California. Don't even write a script. Don't even do it.
Just pitch it.
Throw on a leather jacket and pitch it to a producer. Just be like, I got this idea. This is what happens.
Yeah.
Half the human race goes back in time, and if they can live on their own in the forest for 100 years, then the human race gets to ascend in the next. And it takes place between different timelines and all this other stuff.
Oh yeah. Meanwhile, the other half that gets left behind.
Yes. Meanwhile, the other half
enslaved.
Yeah.
That's the deal.
They become slaves.
And the aliens that came. Right? You think they're the big baddies? They're not. They were just the last race that happened to 1 million years ago. Now the big race comes.
And this is how you create spacefaring civilizations in the galaxy.
Yep. It's sink it or make it.
Let me tell you, if they can make 5 of those awful Resident Evil movies.
I haven't even watched. I think I watched 2 of them.
The first one was very good. Was very
Raccoon
enjoyable.
City? It's like the one with the girl from Fast and Furious?
The one Raccoon City is an atrocious nightmare.
Really? The one where they go underground?
Well, the first one with Mila Jovovich was really good.
Wow, I'm so bad with names. I'm going to be a big LA producer. I need to learn these names.
Yeah, Mila Jovovich.
My alien show.
What about you ever see The Fifth Element?
Yeah.
So she was the girl in The Fifth Element.
No, I know. She's like the main person. And she's she's blonde and she's like living above one of the entrances, right? And she has like amnesia. And the other guy took it, right? Yeah, that's the one with the girl from Fast and Furious, right?
That was the one good one, and then
that was awesome.
After that, it was a really good movie, and then
I didn't watch
after
it.
That was just terrible.
That was the cool AI.
Yeah,
when she was like the daughter, and then they sliced them up in the hallway.
Yeah, the hallway slicer. That
so
was
good.
A cool part. I know. It's really an underrated movie.
I love stuff like that because those movies are so hit or miss.
Yeah, I know.
Oh,
you ever
man.
see The Cube? You ever watch The Cube?
The Cube, let's go. They have a lot more. There's one that's kind of like that. I haven't watched it. I've been meaning to put it on. You descend levels.
Oh, yeah. That's
and
on
the
Netflix.
food starts the top.
Yeah.
And by the time it gets down to the bottom, there's no food left.
Right. Because it falls on all the other different levels.
Yeah,
so
and people eating
fight.
it all up. They only have so much time, right?
Yeah.
That looked cool.
Yeah. That does look cool.
Yeah, but the Cube was awesome. Where they're crawling through all the little tunnels.
Hey man, let me play that song before we go too far off.
I will love that, man.
All right.
Cool.
Still coming in good?
Perfect, man. Go for it. This is my favorite song you do.
I'm gonna mess it up. When you're down and trouble and you need a helping hand and nothing turns out right. Close your eyes and think of me, and soon I will be there to brighten even your darkest night. You just call out my name, and you know that wherever I am, I'll come running, see you again. Winter, spring, summer, or fall, all you've got to do is call, and I'll be there. You've got a friend. When it's dark and stormy and the sky is full of clouds, and that old north wind begins to blow, pull yourself together and call call my name out loud, and soon I will be knocking at your door. You just call out my name, and you know that wherever I am, I'll come running, see you again. Winter, spring, summer, or fall, all you've got to do is call, and I'll be there. Hey, ain't it good that you've got a friend? People can be so cold. They'll use you and abuse you. They'll take your soul if you let them. Oh, don't you let them. You just call out my name, and you know that wherever I am, I'll come running, see you again. Winter, spring, summer, or fall, all you've got to do is call, and I'll be there. You've got a friend. That's how I'm gonna end that song from now on.
Beautiful, man. Thank you for that.
No problem.
Really
We're
appreciate
totally-
it.
Yeah, that's dedicated to you, my friend.
Ah, dude. Cheers, brother.
Cheers.
It's always a pleasure, man.
Ka-chink.
Ka-chink.
Yeah, look at us. I'm so glad that I can do this now, and I can serenade you.
Yeah, no, it's a beautiful thing, man. I've always loved when you did that. I remember you did it at the beginning of the Pandy.
Oh yeah,
Right?
yeah.
You were like releasing these little Facebook things. Really cool.
Yeah, I was doing that. I did I did when you find yourself in times of trouble, Mother Mary
Yep.
comes to me. Yeah.
Another good one, yeah.
Yeah, actually that turned into Chelsea Hotel Number 2
Chelsea Hotel Number 2
by Lou Reed.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, and I remember you were kind of doing
Not Lou
that.
Reed. What am I thinking? Leonard Cohen.
That's the guy. You were a big fan of that guy.
Mhm.
I feel like you're always doing something, like, which is really cool. Which I knew his work, but I didn't know
Oh,
his
he was
work.
the man.
Like I would just listen and go, oh, that's a great song. But I didn't know like the guy.
He's part of the school of artists that I became acquainted with in college.
Mm.
You know, before I went to NYU and got myself a degree in music technology.
Oh, that explains
You know,
it.
yeah, that's so. I went to New York in 1998,
Mm.
and I joined up, and I made friends with all these guys and they were great guys. They were very much into like 60s culture and stuff like that, musical culture, and that's when I
Sure.
started. And I spent a lot of time because of those guys, Andy, Jonas, Mihal, if any of you guys are watching, listening to Bob Dylan. I discovered Bob Dylan in that time. I discovered Led Zeppelin.
How do you feel
Johnny
about Bob
Cash.
Dylan now?
Well,
It's an interesting thing. I feel like people
it is interesting.
have a certain opinion.
Well, it is. The thing about him is like he's got that ability to just, he's a very complex human being, but with a certain amount of emotional detachment, he can just fart out these incredibly meaningful songs,
Right.
just these incredibly meaningful lyrics. Or I feel like he hit a stride maybe in like the 60s when he was just like effortlessly writing some of his best material. And I think about I can still remember the first time I heard him say stuff like In the dime stores and bus stations, people think over situations. They know there's no success like failure, and that failure's no success at all. You know,
Beautiful.
and it's just there's just
Yeah, it makes
something
sense.
about that lyric, you know. And
But that's life.
there was nobody that could touch him.
Yeah.
But the thing of it is like he was so complicated that he kind of just didn't eventually started to not give a damn about the whole music industry. And if you watch the documentaries about him and everything, he's just sort of like, it's weird. He's got this weird detachment. He makes everybody that seems to be really into music and really into that culture, he makes them all seem like losers.
Yeah, I haven't watched anything.
He's so just like, you know, whatever. You know, I love making music, but whatever.
Yeah, but it's kind of weird, right? You had to make it to get there. Like, isn't that kind of like, I don't know. It's like, I mean, okay, you made it you're really rich, successful. Now you can just be like, I don't care. You know,
it's not that he doesn't care. I'm sure that, you know, if
he cares about music and people. He just doesn't like the machine.
I'm sure that if he were here, he'd be like, no, you're wrong. That's not how I feel. You know,
yeah.
He definitely, he's got a lot of multifaceted reasons for doing the things he does and saying the things he does. And I think that he's probably plagued by being perpetually misunderstood, just because his motivations are so severely complicated.
Yeah. I mean, well, just like I never heard more covers of a song like All Along the Watchtower.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like, it seems like everybody plays that.
Maybe
they're all complicated.
Actually, I mean, the Yardbirds did Mr. Tambourine Man. It's one of the songs that made them famous.
Right.
And that song that, you know, that's
funny you bring Yardbirds.
And that song that, how many roads must a man walk down before they call him a man? He wrote that song when he was like a teenager. And it became like a flagship song for the black liberation movement.
Interesting. So, yeah, I'm so ignorant when it comes to Bob Dylan.
Really?
Or a lot of these people. Well, you were saying that you kind of like, you're like, I need to you wanted to emulate these guys, or you just knew you had a fascination?
I have a fascination with them because these people, like, you know, Neil Young, Bob Dylan, you know, and even Neil Diamond to a certain extent before he had a full band, and other guys that I've listened to have the ability of just painting a complete musical picture with just a guitar and just their lyrics. And they just do it. I mean, it's not, neither of them are too complicated, but there's something in their personalities and the way that they maneuver all that stuff.
You feel authentic? That
I don't know, but it just captures people's imaginations. And that's what I wish that I could do.
I think you're doing it, man.
But I'll tell you one thing about those guys. Like, you know, Bob Dylan and Robert Johnson both have kind of a similar legend about them, right? So when Bob Dylan went to New York, he wasn't as good as when he came back from New York, right? And so people are like, oh, Bob Dylan sold his soul to the devil, right?
In New York.
Yeah, in New York. And then
the devil's in the South. Yeah,
Robert Johnson was a blues player, and they had the whole legend of him selling, because he disappeared for a while, and then when he came back, he was so much better. And people were like, oh, he's selling his soul.
On the crossroads.
And I think that what really happened is, I think both of those guys put themselves in situations where they were playing constantly, and they learned how to get the maximum effect out of their craft, right? And they learned and they got better. And I think that's what that is. And I feel like that's what I'm doing now. I'm selling my soul to the devil, which is essentially I'm giving myself over to just trying to play as often as I can, and I'm trying to get better. Like, I think the last time I did a podcast with you, like, I wouldn't have been able to just whip out these songs, you know?
No, I mean, you were the first guest I had on my podcast.
Yeah, I was. And I had like a few songs that I could play, but I want to get to the point where I can just sit down and play all of my songs.
That's, you know? When people can do that.
Yeah.
What is it? 10,000 hours to master something?
Is that how much?
I think it's 10. I think it's 10,000 hours or something like that. That's a lot.
I don't know. I mean, you also think about all the time that goes into, you know, dreaming and writing and practicing and all the different projects that you've done that lead up to this point. It's a whole lifestyle, you know, to get here.
That's what's so tough about it.
Yeah.
That's why I really don't do it. I stopped.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. I mean, you have to, like,
it wasn't worth it to me, but that's
I've just been systematically stripping away my other interests. Like, I don't really pursue media as much anymore,
right?
Because none of that stuff makes me as happy as when I sit down and I futz around with a guitar, and I can do it in small bursts too, so I can do it around my busy life.
Yeah, I feel like podcasting, like I don't do it as much as I should, but I feel like every time I do it, I feel so much better.
Yeah,
and it forces me to do it because like I'm dependent. I'm scheduling stuff with another human being.
Yeah.
So there's no, I'll just do it tomorrow.
So, I mean, what I try to do is, you know, and I get that dopamine, like when I get a round of applause and people come up to me and they tell me that they really like that song that I did. And did I write that? And I'm like, yeah. And they're like, where can I buy it? You know, then I'm like,
when people want to take you home, that's an amazing.
Oh, by the way, CharlieThurman.com is a thing now.
Let's go. Is it really?
Well, it's just got a like a scaffolding website up there now with like a note that says soon you can be, but at CharlieThurman.com soon you'll be able to buy my original songs. I'm going to start recording them and throwing in there and you know, selling them basically.
Awesome. I linked it in the chat.
Yeah, and you'll be able to like you'll be able to buy individual songs if there's one specifically that you like, or you can buy the whole swath for, I don't know, it's gonna be like a 12-song record. Awesome. But it's gonna be mostly acoustic.
Are you self-producing?
Yeah, I'm gonna self-produce it.
Engineering.
Yeah, and I mean, if it you know, all the songs that I do, they work with acoustic guitar. You know, and I'll do like a couple of tracks. Like I think I sent you Submission, that the recording of that.
I do have a couple recordings here.
So it's going to be along the lines of that, where it's like you know, 2 vocals and 2 guitars, but you know, just enough to kind of get the sense of the song. But it's still going to be very, very jammable. Like it's still going to be a very good quality, and you know, you can buy it for a couple of bucks. And
that's awesome.
There's songs of mine like The View Is Nice that people want just because it's, you know, it's funny and lighthearted. And I have another one called At the Gates of Hell with You. That people have come up to me and tell me that that's a really special song. So things like that, they're going to want to buy specific songs, or you can just get all of them, you know, give me like, you know.
Right. But that's going to be like your direct main site now. Okay, that's cool. Yes. I kind of need to do that soon.
Yeah, there's not going to be any band camps. There's not going to be any third parties. It's just going to be CharlieThurman.com, and you click on a button and you send me money through PayPal, and then you can download the song. That's it. You know,
that's great.
And all the money that I get from it goes back into, like, you know, if you know, if I have enough money, then I can like hire a band and a producer and get studio time and stuff like that.
Yeah,
that's the idea.
Very cool. No, I like it. I think it's important to have your own platform. I think LA is going to do the move is going to do a lot for me. A lot of things that I've been wanting to do that I just put off here, or like for whatever reason, it's like my life's too chaotic. I get a fresh start. One thing I always wanted to do was just have my own website, stream to my website, you know, put exclusive stuff on my website, have everybody go there, and then just make my own merch.
Yeah.
And not rely on anybody else.
Yeah. I think it's the
cleanest way to do it.
Yeah, just do it super cleanly and don't use any of these third-party people. Just do it on your own.
Yeah, there's no limitations.
You can buy a domain. You can buy any domain you want. It's like $12 for the year. And then there are free web development tools.
Yeah.
You know, PayPal takes a commission, you know, per sale.
Yeah.
But it's like marginal.
No, just send me cash.
Yeah, right?
Just mail it to my P.O. box.
Yeah.
That's the thing, too. I'm going to get a P.O. box.
Yeah.
See what weird shit people send me if I make it public.
So a friend of mine, I won't say who he is, but he and I were talking one day. We worked a job together, and we were talking about the American dream, right? And we both surmised that like we were kind of young, so it's kind of a stupid idea, stupid concept. My idea of the American dream has definitely evolved since I had this conversation. But we were talking, and you know, we were like, "What's the American dream? Like, you work your entire life." You get to have a house and a family. You work your whole life for your family. And then when you can't move your arms anymore, you go into retirement, and then you spend like a couple of decades, you know, in cardigans, and then you just die. Yeah. And that's your whole life.
Pretty much.
Like, that's a horrible dream. Like, if you think about it, that's a horrible dream to have.
Yeah,
this is the young me. I've changed, but we thought to ourselves, like, okay, so the real dream ought to be, how can I get a job where I literally do nothing and I make enough money to do everything that I want? And you know, like, we didn't really talk about Wall Street or any of that. I mean, there's people that do live lives like that. But anyway, he wound up going out to California for a while. I think he was in pursuit of a record contract. When he came back, he was like, hey, you know that thing we were talking about? I was like, yeah, what? The American Dream? He goes, yeah, I figured it out. And I'm like, what? So what he did was he got a P.O. box and he put the name of the P.O. box under the first initial of his name, the first initial, and then his last name.
Right.
And then he took out an ad in a local newspaper saying, I'm just a young, he never said that he was like, he never claimed to be a girl. He said, I'm just a young college. He made it sound like a girl was talking.
Oh,
like, I'm just a college student,
dude.
and I need to and I just need some money. And if anybody wants to help me out. And I think the first time he looked in his P.O. box, like after a month of running that ad, he had like $3,000 in there.
Dude.
Yeah.
But you see what I'm saying? Oh man, don't get me started. Because imagine him doing it as a man. I'm a young man that needs help. It would be like you'd open a car, it'd be a glitter bomb, like someone's middle finger printed out. It would just be spit in a letter. People be like, get a job.
Yeah.
How about that? But if you're a female,
well, that's what's so brilliant about it is he capitalized on this horrible double standard that we have in our society. He capitalized on it.
Yeah.
So he came out on top.
Well, good for him.
I mean, listen,
was there enough money to get home? I mean,
I think it was just enough money to buy like alcohol and stuff.
Yeah.
You know, they didn't get that.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah. I don't know. That's, yeah.
I triggered you with my
double trigger. That's another thing that triggers me.
You don't like triggered? The word triggered triggers you.
Yeah. It's not, I don't know if it's necessarily a trigger. It's just like, I'm just tired of like, the hypocrisy of things.
Yeah, I know.
But I'm tired of it in the sense of like where it's just like, no, I know what's up. So like it doesn't like whatever. Like go ahead, enjoy your life. Yeah.
No, we live in a
society
of contradictions. We just live in a time of contradictions.
Yeah.
You know what it is? It's really the media. And I know you're not going to agree with me, but my
I don't agree. Okay.
I know. My entire overarching philosophy is that, we basically what it is we just have rich people running the government who aren't necessarily elected politicians, and that's what's happening.
Well, yeah, like Nancy Pelosi, like, how does she have all that money?
Well, she's wealthy. Everybody in Congress is wealthy or made wealthy by lobbyists.
Well, AOC, I mean, come on.
Yeah, well,
she was a bartender, and then she's like,
yeah. You can't just say AOC because it's everybody.
No, that's the prime example though. Like that's the issue that we're having is that society is so informed. Yeah. Because like there's cameras everywhere, everybody has a microphone, so it's like,
well, don't think for a second
you're like exposing all these things. They can't hide it. Like when
I think that first of all, we don't have conservatives and liberals in Congress.
No, you just have like extreme
business partners. We just have people that are representing corporations.
Sure.
In Congress. That's all.
Well, they are corporations now.
Yeah. Exactly. They are. I mean,
that's kind of crazy.
What does that have to do with anything? I mean, on a fundamental level, like if you just got rid of the red, you got rid of the blue, right? And you got rid of like the way that they're manipulating media and feeding people these opinions. If you got rid of all that, then you just have people left over. And then maybe we could actually get on with something. Maybe we could actually all agree that this is good and this is bad, but we can't because it's in their interests to keep us divided.
That's any body of power, right? Like you need a yin to the yang. Like there's always got to be tension, and like you just watch the cycles. Now we're back to shootings.
Yeah, well, I don't even know.
But like, think about it. When's the last time you heard about shootings, right? Because we were on Russia and then gas and now shootings and then it was COVID. It's like, whatever. But whatever.
Well, if there's any
support alternative media.
You don't hear about it.
VoodooWaterTV. Subscribe.
There's this guy on TikTok that just has like, hey, here's the daily good news.
Yeah.
Here's he just has good news for like 5
that's awesome.
minutes.
I want to start a series, and this is another idea someone can steal from me and make money off of. Called What I Know So Far. I'm working on the title, right? What I learned, and it would be all like I'm gonna say it to trick the algorithms to where I'm praising it, but it's total satire.
Okay.
So like today I learned that self-defense is illegal as it should be, and if you're attacked in your store as an elderly man, you have no right to defend yourself.
Yeah, I heard about that.
Clearly true.
I heard about that guy that wound up killing somebody that was robbing him, and he got sued and like thrown in jail.
Well, immediately arrested.
Yeah.
That's like, to me, that's the wrong part of it. Okay. You got an older gentleman. There's cameras. It's like, yo, okay, I can see you cuffing him and putting him like, okay, sit down. You're cuffed until we figure this out. Do you have cameras? Like, let's look at the camera. I mean, maybe legally they need a warrant or something. But I mean, like, come on. You should, as a detective, you should show up on the scene and go, wait a minute. Like, something doesn't seem like, why was this guy even behind the counter? Like, you know what I mean? Like, there's a lot to it. Right?
Yeah.
Like there's but it's so like, no, you're arrested. You're going to jail.
Yeah.
Figure it out later.
Well,
it's weird.
That's kind of why I have an issue with law enforcement.
Yeah.
You know, because of stuff like that.
Sure.
Because
I mean that's not everybody though.
No, it's not. It's not everybody, but it's still, there's a system in place where the people that don't deserve it get clapped in cuffs or killed. Happens a lot. It
does happen a lot. Yeah.
You know, and it's not the people. It's really the system, and it's also the conflicting cultures.
Yeah, I mean, and well, now like there's such like it's such a hotbed. It's like,
no.
Who even wants to be a cop?
You and I got to be careful. We got to dance around the issue because we can't go down the rabbit hole together. We'll wind up in fisticuffs.
Yeah, no, but you know, it's just like who even wants that job? First off, to me, that sounds like a horrible job. Okay, you're working weird hours. No one likes you. Every encounter you have is people lying to you.
Except for senators putting money.
Yeah, right? But like seriously though, like everybody is trying to lie to you. I just imagine that. And then especially if you work in like not such a good area, dude. Just imagine that. Imagine working from midnight to 7 in the morning or 8 in the morning, right? Yeah. In known areas. Right? I mean, you have to be on edge.
Yeah, I mean that would definitely put you on.
Right,
but I think
we need more training.
Well, I think that's exactly. I think that's why
we need more training, not less.
I think they need 4 years of training. They need SWAT training, they need physical training. They need.
Well, I love what Jocko and Joe Rogan say. They're like purple belt, minimum purple belt in jiu-jitsu. That way, instead of reaching for your gun, right? Anytime me and you are standing face to face, you can take the person down with minimum force.
Right, but instead they have this kid and they just run him through this basic training.
Yeah, barely any psychological.
They give him a gun and they tell him, and they fill his head with all these ideas and they send him out into the ghetto, and he winds up killing somebody because he's afraid and he's aggressive.
Exactly.
You know,
exactly.
So it's like, who's the victim? Everybody's the victim.
Yeah, no, it's a weird societal thing. And
there's people I know that they went into the force and it's like, you know, it's like they were working some crap job and they were just some local kid.
Yeah,
and then they're a cop.
And they're a cop. You get a badge.
Now you're a cop with a gun and a
cop
badge,
car,
right?
$100,000 cop car.
And I think of that guy pulling me over.
You know, free coffees. I mean, you're the shit. I had a young man working for me briefly, and I remember like, I just stopped and I was looking at the shipping table and everybody's doing stuff, and I was just looking at him. And like we made eye contact, and like I was just like, "Are you a cop?" And he was like, "What?" I'm like, "Are you a cop?" And he was like, "No." He's like, "Why?" I'm like, "Are you sure you're not a cop? Because I know cops." Really? Yeah, right. And he was like, "No, I'm not a cop." And everybody's like, "What the fuck is going on?" Like a month later, he comes in my office, like, "Hey, I gotta talk to you about something." And I was like, "Why, you quitting?" He was like, "I'm actually gonna go try out for the police academy." And I was like,
"Wow."
I was like, I knew you were a cop.
I knew you were a cop.
I had you pegged from the moment I met you. You're a cop.
Yeah.
Get out of here, bacon. You know. I didn't say that.
Well, what clued you off? Was it just like you just had a way?
I just had a vibe.
I
just had a vibe. I was like, you seem like a cop. You're coppy vibes.
Yeah, one time I was at a party, and I mean, I shouldn't, like, cops are just normal. Like I've worked neck and neck with like cops and stuff, and I've never personally met one that I didn't think was a good guy.
That's good.
You know? But
you white cis male, how dare you?
Well, I mean, listen, I mean,
I don't know.
these isolated cases that happen, you know, that paint this image of this awful problem. And when you actually look at the statistics involved, it's like, here's the mass of people that do their job correctly, and here's the 1 or 2, you know, or maybe it's more than that. I don't know. But it's like, we're looking at such a small occurrence.
Well, that's what we do.
People are getting, you know, it's to the point where this is this massive problem. Now, I think that the way that, you know, certain races in this country are treated and the way that our economy is set up, that is a massive problem for sure. But to assume that all cops are bad is a fundamentally flawed thing to think. But that is
to assume any group based on a minority's actions is not correct.
Yeah, I'll tell you, man. I was in those marches, and
I know you were marching away, dude.
Those cops, they weren't our friends, man. They were not being
disturbing the peace.
I don't know,
back to
man.
Well, I don't know. There's a lot. This is the most political I've ever gotten on the show. So you know,
this right here.
This is it, and I'm still not. Man. We're like barely scratching the surface.
I'm a bad person to talk about.
I want a podcast.
I'll have you agreeing. I'll have you agreeing with me before you know it.
I think sometimes I disagree out of politeness, which is something I shouldn't do.
No, you definitely shouldn't.
But because I enjoy looking at it from other people's perspectives, and I don't know. I just think, isn't a conversation better if you could focus on the positive and the common ground versus like going into it looking for the differences? You know what I mean?
I think the best conversations come out of polite conflict.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, so it's like, I'm not just agreeing necessarily. Maybe I worded it wrong, but it's like a polite, you know.
Yeah.
Because anybody can nitpick. Like, I could take one thing you say and just run off on it, and I just feel like no one ever gets anywhere with those conversations. You know what I mean?
I think that, like, let's say, okay,
does that make sense?
Let's say we got somebody far to the left and we got somebody far to the right, and they're got to come together, and they're going to have a conversation.
Yeah.
In order for that conversation to work, first of all, both of them have got to not get pissed off at one another,
which is hard.
Yes, which is really hard.
Extreme people, so we're in an age, and this is my viewpoint, where it's no longer my political belief or my belief in this. This is my identity.
Yeah.
So if you disagree, you're disagreeing with my existence.
Yeah.
And that's so bad. That is so pulverizing to society. You can't operate that way.
No.
In my not so humble opinion.
I don't know. Well, people are really fed up with people adhering to these ideas, and just everybody is so convinced that they're right.
Yeah.
Everybody's just screaming at each other.
It's weird. It's weird. I don't know.
You get so mad. You get so fed up, after watching the news for an hour. You're like, I'm going to go take a liberal or Republican.
It's so weird, though. I mean, there's got to be something in the water, man. I don't get that way. I get agitated by things, but it's like...
I really think that people need to disconnect themselves from like the national political dialogue. Like people have to disassociate themselves. Like I'm disassociating myself from Democrats because they're way too corporate now. And I don't think that their interests are my interests anymore. I don't believe that these people have my back. So I was raised liberal Democrat. I don't know what I am anymore. I'm just a moderate. I'm like a moderate liberal.
Why can't you just take each issue in stride?
Well, that's the thing.
And when wherever you fall on the spectrum is just kind of like where you fall. That's kind of, I mean, obviously, I guess if you had to put me somewhere, I would say I'm center right. I'm more towards the right, but it depends on the issues for me. It does. Because it's like, I don't know. It's not my personality.
Well, I think that what people have to make an attempt to do is they have to, first of all, liberals got to stop hating conservatives, and conservatives got to stop hating liberals. Yeah. Regardless of what the other side believes.
Hate's such a strong thing.
Number one. It is a strong thing.
Why is everybody hating each other?
I don't know, but I see it on the news all the time. Conservatives like, I'm going to go kill me a bunch of liberals, libtards and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that stuff is offensive. And then, on the other side, you see liberals calling, basically all conservatives are these ridiculous redneck Nazis,
bad boys from World War II.
And I'm guilty of doing stuff like that too from time to time, but
sure.
But I think that people have got to just sort of recognize that, okay, you can be respectful of somebody that doesn't have the same point of view as you, okay? Even if that point of view conflicts with your worldview.
I really, honestly, in my honest opinion, I think all these things are happening online through a screen, and it's not the majority of people. It's a very loud minority, and I think as soon as we start recognizing that, you know what I mean. But the thing is, you can't just disregard it, because I mean, look at all, like, in California is a great example. You see it all the time on the clips. People come in with duffel bags and they're just tossing shit in. No cops are being called. People are just letting it happen. You can destroy $100,000 worth of property and no one So it's like those people are being excited by the chamber, the echo chamber.
Yeah.
So you got these people that are like miles away from the situation, like enraging people.
Yeah.
Imagine that. Imagine it's like people in Iowa are bitching about it, and it's inciting people in California to start doing riots.
Yeah. I mean, we thought that being able to mass communicate and be able to instantaneously communicate with people was going to be good for spreading
it is
realistic ideas.
It's awesome.
It is.
It's awesome. Again, it's an amazing thing.
Okay, so here's a positive thing.
Yeah.
Here's a positive thing that I think is a really great thing that happened to us. The James Webb Telescope has been launched.
Right. Cool.
Have you been looking into that at all?
No, I haven't.
Now, I'm a total space nerd. I think it's just fantastic what they're discovering. And basically what they did is they put another Hubble telescope, in orbit around the Earth, and they've been working on it forever and ever and ever. And this thing can see so far into the galaxy that it can see galaxies and phenomenon that we have not been able to see anymore. And there's this whole list of things that they're going to try to observe.
That's awesome.
And they came out with photos of a star that had gone supernova.
Wow.
Like really, really, really good resolution. The first image that they put, and this is an example of how information technology can be used in a positive way, because you see these pictures and it's like, see this picture, this whole picture is the size of a grain. Like if you hold a grain of sand out on your arm,
right,
that's the section of sky that this picture is of. Wow. And there's like 1,000 galaxies in there. And in addition to that, you can see like gravitational lensing and all this stuff. And it gives you this scope. It gives you this idea of where we are in the universe. And I'm a big picture guy. I like that stuff. So I'm eating it up. I'm like,
yeah.
Universe, dark matter. Yeah.
But that's beautiful. That's a positive, is that everybody in the world that has access to this like mind sync, the web. Yeah. Right. The web. It's like, that's a beautiful thing. And you're right. We should focus on beautiful stuff. And it's like, we're so insignificant. I always remind myself, like, dude, like, you're nothing. Not that you're nothing. You know what I'm saying? In the grand scheme of things.
Yes.
We are flying through nothingness that's forever expanding indefinitely. Mm-hmm. Nothing.
Yep.
On an organic ship we can't control with a bunch of people we can't stand.
We're just a little...
It's like...
We're just a microbe on a vast beach.
Yeah.
Imagine what else is out there. Imagine what else must be.
There's probably just other people. There's just us. Maybe they have tentacles instead of hands.
I wish we could see it. I wish we could just see one civilization. I wish that could happen before I die. Like somehow they come up with a picture. But here's the thing. Here's the cool thing. Because of how big the universe is and how quickly light moves, it has a finite speed limit, right? Yeah. So the universe expanding faster than the speed of light.
Is it really?
Yeah. So the light that get this, man, the light that reaches us
is gone already.
Is from the past.
Yeah, no, I know that, right? So it's because it takes so long.
So the images
you're looking at history.
The further you look, the further back that light came from. So if there is a civilization out there, like the distances they're not even, like, we can't even see them being past the primordial goo phase, like we can't take a picture of another planet yet because the light hasn't reached us yet, and our light hasn't reached them yet.
So like there could be a sister planet, but we're looking at it with volcanoes on it still and still trying to morph.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's so funny. I think the cool theory too that I've always liked is that, like, by the time we actually encounter, like, here's an aircraft, like a big space carrier comes into orbit, everybody's freaking out. Guess what? Everybody on that thing is extinct. That's from an old civilization.
Yeah.
They never made it.
Yeah.
They just didn't make it. They died. That civilization's gone. That's a ghost ship. It's like finding a boat from like the 60s washing up on your shore. It's like, oh, that's one
of the reasons I like Rick and Morty so much.
Oh, it's so good. I never when I get to watch it, I love it.
It takes these concepts. It takes these, it takes these philosophical concepts and it just
boils it down to fun.
Boils it down and rubs them in your face, Like it's just a cruel, unforgiving world and there's nothing sacred.
Oh, yeah.
That's Rick's universe, right? Morty's universe is a universe that's full of hope and he's constantly made to be this, this patsy.
Yeah. It's so good.
I love that show. It's a really great show.
Yeah, we need more of that.
I guess so. I don't know. That show is nightmare material.
Yeah, well, I love stuff like that. I love things that make you think.
Yeah, me too. Man.
But yeah, it's interesting. I don't know. There's so much we could do with it. It's like was it Bill Burr? He's like, we have the world like in our back pocket. at any time. We have the world's worth of knowledge, you know, and we look at memes and porn and
yeah, I know,
you know, it's
entertainment.
You know, it's kind of crazy, but maybe it's a phase. Maybe we're still we're still adolescent. Maybe. We're in a rebellious phase. You know?
Elon Musk would say that, you know, we got to get rid of the phones. We got to put the phones in our brains.
Would he say that though? I mean, I don't know. Yeah, you mean Neuralink?
Yeah, Neuralink, that kind of thing.
I think what he's trying to say is that if and when the technology comes out, you know, you can make a blind guy not blind, or someone that lost control of their fingers work. And the natural progression is eventually, it would just be, that's it. Everybody has it.
If we get there. I mean, I don't know how you feel about climate change, but I feel pretty bleak about it.
I don't know. Is it climate change, dude?
What's that?
Is it real?
Well, I mean,
are birds real?
It's hard. Listen, man. I mean,
I don't know.
It is. I think it is. I mean,
I think climate change is real, but what I'm saying is it just not part of nature?
Is it just not part of nature? Like,
yeah, I mean, we've gone through like 5. This planet has gone through like 4 or 5 like.
Yeah, I know.
Ice ages.
But I mean, it seems like that information is coming from people that aren't scientists.
Okay.
You know, are all the scientists in the pocket of the Democratic Party, or are they impartial?
Well, all right. For example, I think an issue we have with modern scientists in a community is that if you go outside of what has already been agreed upon,
right,
and especially if you prove something that goes against it, you're rewriting known science.
Right.
People don't like that.
So
that basically makes everybody wrong.
So you're saying that climate change deniers have, regardless of the evidence that they bring to the table, are being dismissed?
What I'm saying is that for any subject, whether it's history, science, any of these academically fueled areas of expertise are politicized, and I would think that the majority of them would like to keep a basic understanding to be the same. So if we have a border, you know what I'm saying? This is the baseline, and this is what we're building everything off of.
Let me try to hit some common ground with you.
Okay.
So I feel very much that it's real, and I feel very much that, you know, the scientists, you know, that it's a real thing, and that we've got to deal with it. But then I'll have an epiphany, and I'll realize that everything that I know about climate change, I have learned through a screen.
Yeah, of course.
Right. Cool. Through a news organization that is controlled by people who have political interests, you know, financial interests.
Right.
And
brought to you by Pfizer.
Now, I'm not saying that I don't stick to my beliefs, but I acknowledge the fact that a large part that I don't think people are aware to the extent to which the things that they believe, the things that they hold dear, are placed there by people who want their votes, they want their money, they want their interests, you know, and it's all like this, all controlled by this power struggle that's happening, you know, a million miles away. Now, I mean, that being said, I still think it's real. I think
climate change is real, but I don't know if it's really what people are saying it is.
Like, so I have a song. I have a song, and this song is I'll just get it out of the way. It takes place from the perspective of there's a guy who goes to an alien planet, and it might have been Earth, and all he finds there is an epitaph on a tombstone.
Okay.
And it's called what is this? It's called We All Passed Quietly.
Love it.
And I think it's an appropriate time to play it, because it's kind of, and I didn't mean to stop you there, but I think
it's okay. I am going to get up real quick. I'll be right back.
Okay. I can go?
Yep.
Just play it? Okay.
Awesome.
If you can hear this song, then I'm already gone. I'm sorry to say I cannot meet you face to face. In the place where we stand, I once held the throne of man in all of my glory and fine company and faith. It wasn't a dying sun, it wasn't a shot from any gun that exploded all our lives so suddenly. Come the rising tide, it was like when Granny died, that we all expired gradually. As we grew, we expanded. We did what progress demanded. I'm sure you know life, it ain't no bed of roses. We planted trees and we recycled, rode around on bicycles, but in the end we couldn't see past our noses. It wasn't the acid rain and nobody went insane, though we were headed there in little degrees. Come the rising sea, it wasn't you, it wasn't me, but we all passed the buck quietly. A beautiful son, and if you could have seen him run, maybe you might have intervened to save him. I had a dream that he might have a chance to set things right, save the strange and empty world that we gave him. Wasn't the dying sun, it wasn't a shot from any gun, started that old ball rolling, and you would agree that we tried and tried, and we did not run and hide, and we all passed on quietly.
Love it, man.
Thank you.
You've played that for me before, I think.
Oh yeah, it's an oldie.
Yeah, that's good.
Nice.
The idea, I don't know, man. Like, I don't, because people take things way out of context with these little sound bites. I'm not saying it's not real. You know what I mean? But what I'm saying is are we really impacting it that much?
I can see it.
Yeah.
I mean, I know that the world is a big place and everything, but you also got to understand, my dad used to organize marches, you know, against incinerators because of what they were doing with the ozone layer, you know?
Right.
So, I mean, I kind of came up in the cradle of that kind of philosophy that, you know, what we're doing to the planet makes an impact.
Yeah.
And
I mean, I'm sure it does.
The closest thing that I've seen with my eyes is I do remember winters being different, and I remember summers being different. And, you know, the heat that they have like on the island it just seems like it's different, man. It's just, I can't believe how hot it gets. And, you know, and I keep seeing the reports all the time. They're just like, this is the hottest year in recorded history. This is the hottest year. And I've taken a look at the science, and I've taken a look at what they're alleging is actually happening now. And I keep asking myself, like, what would be the point of faking all that information? Like, you tell me, what's the point of faking that? You know,
I don't think people are well, okay, so I don't think people are necessarily faking it. What I think happens, again, I think the real mess is the political system, let's be honest. But
yeah,
I think people take any of this information and just skew it.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, well, what's better than being afraid that your planet's getting destroyed? Oh my God. You know, it's like this push for EVs, like these electric vehicles. It's like, dude, We're not even there. And experts are screaming at it. People that are for green energy are like, dude, no, not ready. Not ready.
See, that's a totally different narrative. That's a totally different narrative than what I've been exposed to.
Well, imagine living in Texas where your grid is really bad. Like people are going through rolling blackouts. Like I stream and play games with my buddy Monkey, who I met from streaming, and he lives in Texas. And it just goes out. He's like, I just had a blackout.
Oh, wow.
It just happens. That's just part of life. Now imagine 20% of the population there going with like a EV. Drawing on the electric.
Oh, yeah, that wouldn't be good.
Yeah, so it's like I'm all about it, man. If we can make life better, it'd be good. And I'm sure we do impact. Like something that I don't like is what we do to the oceans.
Yeah, I really hate that.
You know, and I think
did you see that documentary? There's a documentary about the fishing industry globally, the global fishing
about
industry.
Like let's be honest, the China and Japanese, like the Asian fishing. I haven't seen it. I've seen clips of it. It's disgusting.
Yeah,
but at the same time, how are you going to tell these people, hey, stop trying to feed your country?
Yeah. I mean, well, that's the thing. I mean, okay, you know what?
You know, that's crazy. That's a crazy thought.
So when they discovered that there were giant gaping holes in the ozone layer and that this was a very bad thing, it was before it was, you know, I mean, there was a movement. There was a collective globalized movement to change certain things and to make certain chemicals illegal because they were affecting the ozone. And it fucking worked. Like a bunch of countries came together. They're like, okay.
You talking about the Paris Climate Accord?
Exactly. I'm talking about the Paris Climate Accord.
I don't know if it's called Accord, but
well,
I heard in Pirates of the Caribbean sounds pretty good.
The ozone layer is actually repaired. There's all this other stuff that's going on, but that's because of the Paris Climate Accord.
Okay, but like,
but that's what we need.
But isn't China like the most destructive? China, India, the most destructive, and they're not even a part of it.
Yes.
And how percentage wise? I'm just curious. What are we really producing? Because like we seem to export or import most of our resources. So like, what are we really doing?
Well,
I could be causing. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, that's definitely. Look, I'm not pointing the finger at America necessarily. I'm saying that the entire globe.
If anything, we need to start doing more fracking and shit. We have so much natural resources. We're gifted with land that is abundant in resources, and we refuse to touch them.
So you don't think that fracking just completely destroys local ecosystems?
I don't know. Does it though? Who?
From what I've heard, it does.
All right. I mean,
you chop off the top of a mountain.
Yeah,
you chop off the top of a mountain.
Well, I don't know. I use fracking down. Again, I don't really have a fight in this thing, and I'm so stupid. I am like a bald chimp. You know, I'm a monkey. I really am.
I will always respect you for having your beliefs, and I'll just tell you matter of factly if that's not what I believe. You know, and
as you learn, you change. Like I'm so open to things. It's just like all the evidence that's been pushed out on the internet and trying to shift through like what's being pushed where for why. It's like I full-heartedly believe that we have natural resources. Maybe fracking's not the thing, but what about natural gas?
Okay, so you believe that we, as a country, we have untapped natural resources that we can use to solve our
don't you think?
problem.
Let's just look at the past couple of years. Like maybe if nothing crazy like a virus came and shut everything down, to actually shut other countries down, that kind of stopped us, right? We became it shed such a big light. We've become so reliant on other countries. It's like, don't you want to have our own independence? Like, isn't that the whole point?
You know, I will say that in the beginning of the pandemic, and I think the first time I was on the podcast, it was like the beginning of the pandemic.
It was like a month into it. It was like it wasn't really a pandemic yet.
So there was a time. There was a time when me with my liberal sensibilities, I was like, okay, everybody's got to wear a mask. Everybody's got to get that vaccine. You have to do it,
right?
And if you don't do it, somebody ought to make you do it because it's in our society.
Should make you do it.
But not so recently, I started to see the footage coming out of China of people, of the Chinese government ripping people out of their homes. And it totally spun my perspective on the whole thing. Like you can appeal to people's sense of common good, and they may or may not agree with you, but you can't rip them out of their fucking homes. That is fascism, And regardless of how much you think it might help civilization, that is not what we stand for as a culture. So it's like, so what do you do? So let's say,
go ahead.
So let's say it is necessary to get these people in masks and to remove them. And
Scientifically, that's not even. So many people are saying that's like
regardless
bullshit.
of what I might believe of the efficacy of a vaccine, regardless of that, that's crossing the line. Like that's totally inhumane, and it should never have gotten to that point. But that's China, man.
Well, it's a lot more than China. There's like 112, 72. Wait, is it like 72? I think recognized countries.
And I'd like to see the stats.
That's probably the majority of them.
And I'd like to see the stats on that because I mean I don't know how effective that.
Well, when it first happened, they weren't ripping people out; they were forcing them in. Yeah. To the point where they would weld apartment building doors shut.
Yeah.
I mean, they recovered really quickly. But this is America, though. It's not that. And like, you know, I've been very much like, I don't want to wear a mask. I don't believe in the pokies. Never got them. And guess what? Knock on wood. Everybody I know that's gotten it and that was like hand sanitizing and doing all this crazy shit, they all got it multiple times. So
yeah, I got it. I got it when I moved up here. In Long Island, I was totally safe, but I came up here and the first thing that happened is I got it because
my guy just got it. He just texted me. I wasn't feeling good. I took a test. It's positive. I'm like, okay.
Yep.
Don't come back till you have a negative.
It was tough. It was a tough virus, but I got over it. You know,
I think the people that were like shouting at people like, "You're killing my grandma," you know, it's like, well, first off, grandma should probably be put somewhere safe. Okay.
I mean, you think everybody knows.
Why should I? Yeah.
Everybody knows somebody that if you shout at them and you like, you know, you try to make them do something, they're just going to dig in their heels.
Well, my favorite thing about it is, and this is like, I love this podcast because like, I hope I get canceled for it. Maybe I'll actually grow from it. But the same people shouting, you know, you have no, you know, you should get you have to get the poke, wear a mask. Like you don't have a choice in the matter. Or the same people shouting, my body, my choice. Right.
Yeah.
That's kind of weird. Listen, so wait, at what point does the government have control over your body and not?
All right. Okay. So the same people that are like, I love America. Yeah. America's great. Wonderful place. You know, blah, blah, blah. Freedom, flags. Yeah. I don't want to get a vaccine because I don't trust the government. So there's the hypocrisy on that side.
Yeah. No, for sure. That's a little, you know, I don't want to get it just because like, I don't feel like I need it.
Well, I got it. And I didn't get a booster, and I don't know. I think maybe if I had not got the vaccine, it would have been a worse experience.
And that's fair, dude.
Which is hard for me to imagine because it fucking sucked. It was tough.
I don't like my thing is like I'm really trying to stress like I'm not very confrontational with this stuff. Like I really don't even enjoy really talking about it. I just like I don't like
I always bring up the elephant in the room.
It's fine. No, I handle it well, but it's like I don't care what you want to do. If you want to identify as a toaster oven, that's fine. But you can't force me to call you a toaster oven.
Okay.
So like your freedoms cannot impede on mine. Yeah. And that has been my bottom line this whole time. For any of these issues, climate change, all this shit, like whatever. Like you know what I mean? It's always just like, man, you're entitled to do whatever you want to do.
I don't mind calling a he or her. I don't mind doing that.
No, like Charlie, if you yourself, right? It's just kind of funny to think about. But if you put a wig on and are like, I'm Charlena.
Yeah.
Okay, Charlena.
Charlotte. I'm Charlotte.
Or Charlotte, right? Yeah, that's an actual. Okay, Charlotte. You know what I mean? Whatever.
Charlotte now. Yeah.
That's fine. I don't care.
I'm Charlotte.
Be Charlotte. That's awesome. I'm all about it.
Right.
You know?
So what about that situation do you not like? Like what about like
I don't like it when they're trying to pass legislation that's like you by legally like, you know, this person go into a girl's room, this person can do this person can do that. You have to do this. You have to do that.
Team.
It's like, dude, that's such a that's like not silent. That's such a minority. We're trying to rewrite science. Oh man, what a interesting like what is a woman? What is a woman?
I like it when conventional beliefs are challenged.
Sure, but what is a woman, Charlie?
I think
Charlena. Charlotte.
You're asking me what I feel
what is a woman?
Philosophically what a woman is?
Yeah.
Well, I guess man, that's
You should watch the clip.
Because if I answer that question and I get it wrong, I feel like I'm gonna upset a lot.
How are you gonna get it wrong? It's sad that you that's where we're at in life.
You know, there's people that they're really into personal pronouns and stuff like that because
it's so weird, Charlie. Stop it.
No.
What is a woman? We're gonna watch this clip. I hope you can hear it.
I can't.
I need Jamie. Whatever. I'll send it to you later. We'll watch it together. It's a great clip though, because it's like this guy, he went and made a documentary where all he did was really just what's up, 𝘚monkey? Thanks for tuning in. There isn't a right answer. There is a totally right answer. And he made a documentary where all he did was really just ask the question and just documented people answering it. And people are just, they don't know how to answer it.
Sugar and spice and everything nice.
Yeah. Whatever. I'm just saying. I know what a woman is. A woman has a certain set of chromosomes that can produce children.
That's a good answer.
Yeah.
I like that answer.
That's it.
I like that answer.
You know,
but the thing of it is, psychologically, somebody can have the genetic makeup of a woman and the psychological makeup of a man. It's true.
But they're not a man though.
But they're still a woman. They're still a woman, no matter what.
Well, not no matter what, right? Like that's scientifically.
Okay, what about
I support someone like this? I want this to be heard because I know people take things out of context. I'm not a bigot, goddammit. Listen, I'm all about it, and I've seen some really hot dude ladies. I'm all about it. I've been to Thailand. Like it's all good. It's all good. But like when it really boils down to it, like how do you feel about have you seen the clip of this? There's a female MMA fighter that went and fought a guy. How'd that go? She got the shit beat out of her.
Oh my God.
Like it was brutal. Like it's brutal.
Was the guy pulling his punches?
I don't know. I don't know. I would love to know that because like if he wasn't, imagine, Charlie, imagine.
Maybe this is an issue that I feel more comfortable letting civilization answer for me. Maybe I don't want to.
That's not good though, because like really, like if you had a daughter who decided she was a man, like all right,
I'd be all for it, 100%.
Right. If I had a daughter that came to me and was like, and was old enough, not 5, she was old enough to make her own decisions, and she was like, okay, I'm 16, I feel like a man. Okay, so dress like a boy. Okay, cool. I'm not saying get an operation. She can't do that until she's older, right?
Right.
And then she comes to me and goes, I want to go play football. You know what I would say? Fuck no.
Well, if she's old enough to make her own decisions, then she's old enough.
At 16 years old, go play football. She's going to get destroyed.
Well,
destroyed. You would let your daughter go play football?
I wouldn't like it.
A 300-pound boy?
I wouldn't
like it. In his prime with all this testosterone pumping in him? I'm going to kill her. I'm going to kill her. And boom.
If you have enough faith in your daughter's intelligence to choose her own sexual identity, then you have to have enough faith in her to make all the decisions after that.
I don't know. I wouldn't. I would think she doesn't know what she's talking about, and I think she'd be grateful that I didn't let her
you
get.
You could be against it.
Yeah,
but
never.
I mean, that's the thing is like, maybe maybe
men are just stronger. Men are just we are, dude. We're just. I'm not even in shape, and I'm stronger than 70% of women out there.
Of course, generally, yes. Of course, generally,
you know what I mean?
That's true. Yes, it is.
So imagine a 16-year-old girl going to go play, go play football.
I think that what we're seeing is that identifiers that we always took for granted, like male and female, strong, weak. It's not. There isn't a line. There's a spectrum. It's a spectrum.
Yeah, there's a spectrum, all right, and she's going to get her ass
kicked. There's a girl out there that beat your ass. There's a girl out there that could beat my ass.
Sure, but that's an extreme.
There's a girl out there that could kick my ass.
But we're not talking about me and you. We're talking about people that are semi-pro, professional.
If let's say I had a 16-year-old son that came to me, and that 16-year-old son was not a strong person,
right?
And they wanted to play football,
right?
I would. What would I do? I wouldn't say no, you can't play football. I'd say you're going to get your ass beat.
Yeah. So you're going to tell him to go to the gym and get stronger.
You're going to in the hospital, and I would try to I would try to convince him not to do it in the nicest way possible. And if he was adamant, maybe he.
Well, how big is your 16-year-old daughter that thinks she's a dude?
I mean, we let guys go off to war. I mean, we let how old do you have to be to get into the military?
18. And the test for females are way different than for men. Did you know that? Do you know they scale it back for women?
I did not know that.
They do.
But I mean, I don't think that they should scale it
because
back.
they recognize that they're not there. Listen, women are way better up here. That's why women are such good manipulators. And I don't mean that in a negative way, like they're manipulating people for negative things. Mm-hmm. But they just know they're way smarter. They are. They're just not physically. They're just not as physically. They don't have the aptitude. Listen, I'm not. This isn't like I hate women and stuff. I'm just saying, like, I mean, clearly the evidence is there, right? Like, who was the what was that lady's name? She was a man. She came out as trans. She was a swimmer. And
Michael Phelps.
Yeah, right. Michael Phelps' cousin, Belinda, right? And then she started winning gold medals. And it was like, well, you know, this guy never even placed or something before. Imagine being that girl. Imagine being, all right, so this is your...
You know what we got to do? We got to just eliminate all of the, all of the handicaps for gender, and we got to bring back steroids.
Yeah, no, baseball is a lot better with steroids, wasn't it? People cracking home runs all the time. Just make the stadiums bigger.
But baseball was way more fun when steroids were.
Just make the fields bigger. Let them juice up.
But now it's like, okay, let's just okay. So there's no more women's league and there's no more men's league. Okay,
in what?
Everything.
Dude, oh my god,
everything.
That's crazy.
Everything.
Then you're gonna just see women just fail.
I don't believe in that.
I do 100%.
No,
100%, bro.
No. I don't believe that you should eliminate. I don't believe that you should eliminate gender roles entirely. I think that they're there, because they're a big part of our society. But I think it's a really healthy thing that those roles are being challenged. I think it's a really
but
I think it's a healthy thing that people are arguing about it because it's kind of funny.
It's not kind of funny though. Like when this lady goes out, she thinks she's all big and tough, and then she just gets destroyed. In the clip, the crowd kind of goes quiet.
Well, listen, I mean, the proof is in the pudding, right? I mean, she wanted to do it. She wanted to prove a point. She thought she could do it. She was wrong.
Equal opportunity doesn't mean equal outcome. So yeah.
No, it doesn't. Maybe somebody will come. Maybe a girl will come along and she'll actually be able to be a contender, I'm sure. But like listen, that's fine. There were only a couple of generations away from breeding women who are as strong as houses, it can happen. I guess. I don't know. Yeah. I'm just saying. Because the thing is. Imagine being, but just, let's go back to the swimmer thing, right? Sure. Now, imagine your whole career and college and everything depends on you performing well. And you've been swimming for 12 years of your life. Right. You're like 22, 23 years old. Right. And you're set to win. And you have a good chance of winning. All of a sudden, this woman that used to be a biological man who's saying that they're a woman. Yeah. Who has the strength of a man comes and starts winning first place in everything. Yeah. That doesn't sound fair. That's fucked up. The fighting thing, you can say, okay, yeah, there is strong women out there and stuff, but like, let's put it, how about a non-physical combative sport? Do you think women can hit a baseball as hard as a man? I mean, they would just play baseball, not softball. Some women can hit baseballs. Some women can hit baseballs harder than some men. Okay, can they hit them better than the Yankees? Well, there's got to be a woman out there that can hit for the Yankees. There's got to be one. She's out there. Okay, there's one girl out there. But you know what I'm saying? I'm not saying we shouldn't strive for more. See, here's the thing. I think that there's something else going on. The reason that you're not comfortable questioning these roles, like you have to be comfortable questioning them. I'm so comfortable. You can't be. I have a solution. Say, okay, what's the solution? My solution is that we let everybody compete together in non-physical. Just remove anything that's physical that you're actually competing. What's the word? It's like baseball, soccer. I don't think football should be. I don't think you should include football. Anything like let's do it this way. The Olympics. So you got running, you got javelin, you got pole vault or whatever. You got all these different things where you're competing against like records. Men and women all play together. And then just let the stats fall where they fall. So you pick the highest man, he gets gold. The highest woman gets gold. But it's not. They're not competing against each other necessarily. Well, you can see it, but. There might be a movement to do that one. Which is, I would agree with. I would be okay with that. I would be okay with that. I don't think anybody.
And I think what you're going to see is you're going to see it be a lot of men. And
well,
a lot of females.
Except in like cross country, except in like
you think so?
Chess. Yeah, because women, like, listen, man, a lot of times when it comes to women doing something, it's just because the reason that there aren't a lot of women there is just because a lot of women haven't done it in the past. I mean,
so wait, you're saying a lot of women don't do triathlons and cross country? I think they do. It's
nobody thought that walking a tightrope across like the Twin Towers was possible until a guy did it, and then all of a sudden there's all these other people that can do it.
A guy did it.
In order to prove a guy did it, yeah. But that's not.
I'm just kidding.
That's okay.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying is that it's just gonna take one girl to show everybody that it's possible.
Yeah.
And then you're gonna have girl MMA fighters, and then you're gonna have
we do have female
football
MMA
players
fighters
that are competing shoulder to shoulder with men. It's possible.
I just don't see it, man.
It's gonna be rare, but you know,
how many women's skulls got to get cracked before we find one that can actually beat a Mayweather or any of these MMA fighters / boxers?
This is probably a really bad analogy, but how many people died before they found the new world? You know what I mean?
But that's so we're smarter than that. Like we know already that like it just doesn't make sense. I think where we need to start, and we can agree on this. Sense. Let's agree on this.
Okay.
We do an Olympics every 4 years, right? But it's always been men and women. Have them all together. Like literally, like whenever they announce, okay, these are all the winners, everybody's name's there. It's not separate anymore.
Yeah.
And we just pick the best of each. But you can see it. And I almost can guarantee you, people will be shocked about how much men are dominating the space.
I don't think people would be shocked about it, but...
Well, then, okay, I think people will be shocked if we only gave out one set of medals. And then people will be pissed.
I love the fact that we're coming up with this, because now it makes it look like having a women's league is kind of like an equal opportunity thing. It's like,
well, if it was, then people wouldn't be bitching about the WMA or
like
whatever.
Affirmative action for women. It's like, oh, they got their own league.
Well, look at female basketball. That's a good spot. That's a good point.
Well,
I'll tell
you one thing. I think muscles on a woman, sexy as hell.
I also see. It's so funny. I don't.
I can't wait until.
I don't at all. I don't at all.
I think it's hot, and
I think being fit is nice, but not.
I think so. I think muscles on a woman are very sexy. I think they are.
I think I have to be able to outrun anything that I'm in a relationship with.
See, that's what it boils down to. It just boils down to like a sexual thing. That's the whole thing. You just don't think they look good. You just don't think butch women look good. I want a woman to be able to pick me up and throw me around, which is rare because I weigh 300 pounds.
It's easy for you to have that fantasy because you're a fucking 7 foot tall, dude.
Yeah, I know.
Of course. I'm 5'7" or something. I can get thrown around. I don't want someone to throw me around.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's funny.
Let's talk about something else.
Yeah, anyway, you got a song for us to break up the tension here?
Yeah, sure.
I like it. Although, listen, cheers to you, my friend. It's always a pleasure. Yeah. I thank you for, I guess, popping my political cherry on my podcast.
Yeah, I think maybe both of us should veer away from that.
Yeah, whatever. I'm trying to be more authentic these days. As far as that. Anyway, what are you playing for us, bud?
This is a song that I wrote recently. It's called Framework, and it's kind of I've only performed it once. Sorry.
It's all good.
Sometimes I like hear a string that's slightly out of tune and it just starts to bug me. So it's about songwriting, and I've always had conversations with Sean, my partner in White Houses, my production partner, about what I try to do lyrically, and I don't always accomplish, is I try to make a framework that people can then kind of put their own imagery in. So
right.
I think a lot of people think that my lyrics mean a lot of specific things, and they are derived from specific experience, but I try to open them up so that people can fill them with their own experiences. And this song is kind of about that. And it's also about trying to explain the process of songwriting to someone that doesn't necessarily give a shit about music, if that makes any sense. It's called Framework. I keep looking for the words to fill this song, but when I look into my mind, something's wrong. My mind's time machine keeps on dragging me along to the place you and I were young and strong. Some memories are better to forget. There are things I haven't come to terms with yet. Things that even I wouldn't hang out to dry in the circus tent of the public's eye. Motion to me, buddy, have a seat. Where you been? Dancing on ice, locked up good and tight. Let me in. What's a song but memories in sound? And what is a performer but a clown? Hand me the heart talking to when you're around, and a cold stiff drink to wash it down. Motion to me, buddy, have a seat. Where you been? Dancing on ice, locked up good and tight. Let me in. Framework, I'm making that framework. I can build the scaffolding for you to fill with everything you think about when you're out wandering. Framework, framework, I can make the scaffolding for you to fill with all your dreams, your bittersweet fears, hopes, and longings. Damn it.
Very good, man.
Yeah, I always screw the ending of that one up for some reason.
I would have never known.
Okay, good.
Would have never known.
Yeah.
Anyway, so Holocaust wasn't real, right?
Can I maybe we can play something of mine and I can go grab a beer and take a urination.
I would love to do that.
Yeah.
What would I have 2 files available, sir?
Well, you're gonna have to put up a splash screen. But what did I
do have
send
one.
you? Oh, okay. So White Houses, yeah. So we are still we're still in a prolonged period of not doing a heck of a lot, but we were producing music before I moved up here, and now we're talking about doing the duo thing again. So
awesome.
We're gonna try to have a couple of gigs up here and a couple of gigs down in like the Brooklyn, Long Island City area. And I sent you a track called Just One, which is our latest and greatest. and I think it's pretty cool. We're actually thinking of we might be using this as a mic video for Samson Technologies if they decide to use it. But I think it's really good. It's kind of a departure from the dark pop thing, and it's more of like a funky thing. And it's about it's kind of about drinking.
I like it. I do that a lot.
Not necessarily in a good way.
Oh.
It's called Just One, and I hope you like it. I'm gonna go.
Awesome. Sounds good, man. Thank you.
Pretty good, right?
Wow. Yeah. I wasn't gonna bring it up, but now that you played that, you've heard of Sturgill Simpson before, right?
Yeah.
Like, have you ever watched his music video on Netflix?
Yeah.
What's like
talking about I'm actually a big Sturgill Simpsons fan. I'm gonna have to play one of his songs next. So since you brought him up.
Wow. Okay. Very cool. Is that on the list, or you just happen to have it in your back pocket?
I think it's on the list. I play it all the time. Yeah, I play all the Turtles all the way down, man. It's the first song on Meta Modern Sounds for country music. I'm a huge Sturgill Simpson guy. I love Sturgill Simpson.
Oh, it's in the covers. Duh. Okay. I didn't even look at the covers. Like, cool.
Yeah. So I'll play that next. But
wow, Sturgill Simpson's so good, man. I listen to him like most days.
He's a big source of inspiration for me. The way that I look at it is Sturgill Simpson is a country artist that's reaching north, right?
So
and I'm a northern, rock artist, and I'm reaching south.
Yeah.
It's like I keep thinking that maybe someday, him and I can meet and have a conversation about music.
I mean, well, the guy's life is just so crazy.
Why? What's crazy about it?
Well, like, just his profession to begin with, besides music, is that he is like an overnight. He's the guy that has to clean up, which is apparently happens all the time, is like trains crashing and derailing.
What?
Yeah, that's what he does.
Job?
Yep.
Well, not anymore. He's super famous now. He's not doing that anymore.
Maybe just because you're super famous doesn't mean you're super rich.
That's horrible. I mean, I hope he derives some enjoyment from that. That sounds terrible.
I doubt he does. He probably has to deal with people being maimed and limbed and stuff. But that's wild. And his brother is actually the bass player.
Okay.
So
he's one of my favorite. He's a fantastic songwriter. Fantastic.
Yeah, but I feel like just like some of it has to come from just seeing that.
Yeah, I mean some of the darkness there. Yeah,
apparently it happens a lot. That's what he says.
You know what I heard about him is that he, when he was first coming around, because he was experimenting with he was playing like authentic style country, but he was still doing it with like northern rock and roll influences and stuff like that. And he took a lot of criticism for that. Like a lot of people didn't really feel like he was part of the Grand Ole Opry,
Didn't want to be.
Yeah, well, fuck
oh
him,
man,
fuck 'em all.
Some of his stuff is so like it's so refreshing.
Yeah, it's great.
It's like it's like our Pink Floyd. I don't know if that people are gonna agree with that, but like Pink Floyd had a way of just being like different while still being what you want.
Yeah.
And and then eventually they just built on it, took you to a journey. Like there's one album where it's a yellow album and it's a guy with like a buzz cut head on like a lawnmower, like a sit down mower.
And he does. I was listening to that, and he does all these country covers of like some of his Rocky songs. Yeah, and they're great. They're fantastic.
It's so good. And then in the shuffle, it comes on this other thing where there's a crazy Pink Floyd, Rush keyboard, shit.
Yeah.
And he's like, and you're like, whoa. So it's like,
it's artists like that, and and also going like it's like him and Johnny Cash,
right.
Keep bringing me back to country, and then I start to listen
to
country. Merle Haggard, and I start to listen to all that stuff. I love it too. Like I'm starting to love it more country. And more.
Growing up, my grandmother was like, that's what she listened to. And I was like, my mom raised me on like Def Leppard, Ugly Kid Joe, Metallica. My dad was like the Stones, Grateful Dead, bluegrass and stuff. So like, it was just like, for some reason, country, like my mom just hated country. And it's so funny because all these years later, like I finally got her, when I visit, we smoke cigars and listen to country. It's so funny. It's like America. It's like blues and country music is really like.
I have a love-hate thing with Brad Paisley.
Right? Why?
My ex was super into Brad Paisley.
So you hate the guy for it?
No,
it's his fault.
No,
I know what you're saying though. It's you associate it.
Yeah, for a long time. But I mean, and it just sort of drove me crazy because I don't like music that's too over commercialized, and I see him as being like a hyper commercialized.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of modern country. I still enjoy it.
he'd probably kick me in the teeth for saying that. You know, realistically,
Yeah.
he's writing country songs that are just really well produced and they're not overproduced. But you know, it definitely doesn't have that like old timey flavor that I really look for when I'm doing, you know, when I'm listening to country.
Yeah.
But when I went and I saw him play, to this day, it's one of the most astoundingly
Sturgill or
fantastic
Brad?
concerts. Brad Paisley.
Okay, yeah.
It was one of the most astounding concerts I've ever been to. I was kind of like dragged to this show, and I've been to a few country. Like I saw Garth Brooks.
I like Garth Brooks.
Okay, he's okay.
He's okay.
There's something about him that I'm not. I just
jiving with.
No, he's too. I don't know. He's just like. He's too much on the opposite side for me.
Got you.
Like you know, but Brad Paisley was really like, you know, you have to appreciate his songcraft and his instrumentality. I suppose you gotta appreciate that from Garth Brooks as well. But
yeah, I mean, I
really don't like Garth Brooks.
That's okay. I mean, I wouldn't say like I'm like a huge fan of Garth Brooks, but like I like Garth Brooks.
I got friends in low places, and every goddamn jock in the bar starts singing.
Oh, you think Oh, yeah, I guess that makes sense.
Yeah.
See, I envisioned something totally different. I guess that's the beauty of it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was here's why I don't like who was that guy?
We're getting into it. You know I'm clipping this, right? So
you're clipping this?
I'm getting sound bites, yeah. So get ready.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so here's why here's why I don't like him. I was kind of forced to go to one of his concerts, and it was like on a Sunday night, and it was in Queens, and it was like in an open theater, and that particular night there was a really bad rainstorm coming in.
I think you told me. I think I was hanging out with you the day before or something.
Yeah, so I didn't want to go to this concert, but you know, the tickets were bought and the plans were made, and I had to go to work the next day. I wasn't enthusiastic, but I was like, whatever, I'll go check out Garth Brooks and I'll see what it's about. And the reports are coming in, and the rain is just going to be really bad. And it wasn't like, okay, maybe we shouldn't go. It was like, no, fuck that. We're going to get ponchos and we're going to sit there. We're going to be all right. We probably have like an awning or something. We're going to be fine. We were in the middle of like, the sky was right above us. And with these rinky dinky little ponchos, and it's pouring rain on us. Right.
Yeah.
And they're not canceling the show. Like, it's lightning and thundering, and they're not canceling the show.
Damn straight.
And they're starting. They had like all these pyrotechnics and all these dancers that they were going to use. They start rolling that stuff up and packing it away. So I'm like, okay. So maybe they're going to cancel the show. He starts tweeting out, "We're not canceling the show. I don't care what it takes. We're going to wait the storm out." And I'm sitting there on a Sunday night, getting pounded. You know, drinking like a $20 beer. You know, and finally he takes the stage. I think he was supposed to go on at like 9 o'clock. He wound up taking the stage at like midnight or something. And it's like,
yeah, you told me this. Yeah.
It is still raining, right? And he gets up on there, and I'm hoping that maybe they'll play a short set or something like that. He gets on there and he says, "I love you so much. Thank you for staying. Because of this, we're not leaving the stage until we play every single one of our hits that we have over the year. We're going to play everything. We're going to play every song you've ever known about." I'm just like,
would you die and go to hell briefly?
It was like hell. And it was good. He played well, but I didn't get out of there till like 2 a.m.
Oh, dude.
I was soaking wet.
I'm sure.
So like a sponge, like I was just like a wet cat. Like, I just saw Garth Brooks. It couldn't have been worse. Everybody like Garth Brooks says he's gonna go on. Everybody's like, yeah. And I'm
you're like,
no,
wait, some of us have to go to work in the morning. What? No, be sensible.
And I'm surrounded by all these Garth Brooks country fans, and it is so far away from what I am. You know.
Yeah. With my $120 beer.
But
that's getting rainwater in it too. It's not even.
I know.
Yeah.
Oh, I definitely drank my share of rainwater that night.
Well, that's good.
Oh my God.
Well, that's illegal actually. So careful what you say on the podcast.
Yeah,
you're not allowed to collect rainwater.
That was definitely a tough moment. I'm proud of myself.
I'm sure, man.
I'm proud of myself for sticking it out without like freaking out. But I thought I was going to.
It depends on who I'm with. I forget who you said you were with. For some reason, I feel like it was your dad, but I think that was completely wrong.
Let's not.
Yeah, whatever. But I feel like I would definitely be like, okay, well, I'm leaving. That was fun.
You don't understand.
I'll send an invoice.
I couldn't. It might have involved some relatives.
Yeah. Okay. Do you have another one for us? We're gonna wrap it up soon.
Oh, you are? Okay, I'm gonna play
Yeah.
Turtles All the Way Down by Sturgill Simpson.
Oh, dude, I can't wait. All right, give me 1 second. 3, 2, 1, go.
I seen Jesus play with flame in a lake of fire I was standing in. I met the devil in Seattle, spent 9 months inside the lion's den. I met Buddha yet another time, showed me about a glowing light within. But I swear that God is there each time I look into the eyes of my best friend. You said, my son, it's all been done. Someday you're gonna wake up old and gray. So try to live and have some fun, spreading warmth to everyone you meet and greet and cheat along the way. There's a gateway in our minds that leads somewhere out there, far beyond this plane. Where reptile aliens made of light cut you open and pull out all your pain. Tell me how they make illegal something that we all make in our brains. Some say it might make you go crazy, some say it might make you go sane. Every time I take a look in that age-old fabled book, I'm blinded and reminded of the pain caused by some old man in the sky. Marijuana, LSD, psilocybin, DMT, they all change the way I see, but love's the only thing that ever changed my mind. So don't waste no time with nursery rhymes or fairy tales of blood and wine. It's turtles all the way down the line. So to each his own, till we go on. Through and through we all must roam amidst the vast and existential line known as space and time.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, indeed.
Thank
Fantastic,
you, Fox.
Man.
Thanks for having me on here. I love you, buddy.
Dude, I love you too, man. You're such a good guy. So,
you too.
Tell the people where they can find you and what you do and all that.
Okay.
Good
So
stuff.
if you want to hear my original music, go check out charliethurman.com. And that's in development, but there is something up there for you to look at. But new music will be coming there soon. And you can you can go to Spotify and you can look up White Houses, and then you should, if you see an icon of a spaceship, that's White Houses, and that has my 90s synth electro rock stuff on it. And then you can also find me on Facebook, Charlie Thurman on Facebook, and White Houses on Facebook as well. And I think you have some links to share and everything. You've been sharing them
On the YouTube video, they'll be in the description, guys.
Okay, all right, there you go, and that's it,
dude.
Thanks for listening.
Such a pleasure, man. As always.
That was fun.
No,
that was
really
awesome.
cool. I think what we'll do is I'll run the end of the stream. We'll play Floating in Cloud Silent Space.
Floating in Cold Silent Space.
That's what it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anything you want to say about that?
That's a song. Sean and I were working on a concept record, and it was kind of my concept where I wanted it to be a superhero story about a superhero, because it's kind of an extension of a song that we did called White Houses, which is about a superhero that's in retirement. Well, that same superhero is supposed to come out of retirement,
right,
and then eventually becomes a villain.
Ooh.
Through a series of unfortunate and inescapable events, eventually becomes a bad guy. And that song was, I originally conceived it as he is floating off into space and he's watching the world explode.
That's dope.
in
I know.
slow motion.
Yeah, that's great.
So that's why I wrote the song.
You either live long enough to, or was it you either die the hero or live long enough to become the villain? So
Yeah, exactly. So it was, we had a couple of songs that kind of explored that thematically, and I wrote this to kind of be like a montage for that sequence.
yeah,
But we haven't done anything with it yet, but I think it sounds amazing. I think it sounds really cool.
that's awesome, man. Hey, man, I really appreciate you coming on the show as always. It was a blast, dude. It was so good to catch up with you.
You too, man.
Yeah.
All right. Best of luck in California.
Oh,
Keep me
thank you.
apprised.
I appreciate it, man. I'll be back. We'll hang out. And to everybody out there listening, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you subscribe to our YouTube channel. Check us out on Facebook, all that good stuff. Check out Charlie Whitehouses. He's got new projects coming out. I can't wait to see what he does in the future. I love you, man. And as always, guys, do me a favor. Do a random act of kindness for a stranger, friend, or loved one. And I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.